Hey, what is up, everyone, and welcome back to Thursday night regularly scheduled hostilities with your host, Chuck Winchester, with your host, Yvonne DeBoard, with your host, the current reigning defending champion of the RSH universe, Josh DeBoard. But we're not alone. No. What is it tonight? Is it Thursdays or was it Wednesdays? Because joining us is the Wednesday night Working Fans Wrestling podcast producer Joe, the man maker Dave. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, guys?
Happy to be here, man.
Oh yeah, we are happy to be here.
We're pumped to have you here because I know we've been on your show.
Yeah.
I don't think you've been on RSH. Oh yeah, well Dave, I know he replaced me one night.
Remember we did this shit on Christmas or some shit. Remember?
Listen, I drink a lot. Okay. Back to the show, guys.
I'm pretty sure I've been on one.
First time on. It's so good to see you.
Episode 89.
It's like last week. Yeah, on the show.
This is 94.
Listen, welcome back to the show, guys. We love it when we collab like this. It's always a great time. It's unforgettable every time. And so
Can't even remember nothing.
sorry.
The fucking.
We'll talk later. It's the first time meeting you guys.
Nice to meet you, yeah.
Well, listen, I just know that I've been on your show. I remember that very well because you guys kick ass with your 5-3-1, with all of the cool, throwback stuff that you guys do. Remember, we did the Hardy Boys versus the Freebirds, classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're like, what the hell's the Freebirds?
I wikied it. All right.
Who are they? I don't know.
I know. I'm like the old man. I bring up the old time stuff. When we do our promo list later, you'll see. I'm like, Lou Thez back in 19.
Wait, he does the press. That guy? What's going on?
Yeah, that's press, baby. We got it.
Should have heard Luthez go in on the Chinese though.
Oh, that was. We don't talk about that, Joe.
Yeah, guys. So again, welcome back to the show. We love it when we do the collab with you fellas, and then always a good time. Can't wait to hear your opinions on Raw. I know you guys aren't really big Raw fans, right? You're classic.
I watch a ton of wrestling these days, and Raw's kind of been the one I had to skip through the most because I've been actually watching NXT UK. I've been watching little independent, just trying to get different promotion stuff like that. I still love my WWE, love Smackdown, love NXT, but boy, that 3 hours, that's a brutal task unless you're putting on a good show. And,
dude, it is a lot. Even now, we have so much stuff going on as adults and stuff. We all work to sit down and watch a 3-hour show.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do, Yeah.
So
it's like watching.
The worst part though is a 3-hour poorly written show.
Part
that you're how do the performers not halfway through? Matt Riddle when he goes, I just forgot my lines. I bet they wanted him to and he's I'm on
Matt Riddle
on a fucking scooter as it is.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And I was really worried that when he did that, we were going to lose him. But he's
hot as he's
been hot. Yeah, so.
He's an NXT guy that might actually make it.
Yeah.
I just saw an interview with Randy Orton somewhere, and he talked about meeting Riddle and not liking him the first time he met him. And he said it was something silly. He said that everybody at NXT was kind of joined with the main locker room. And back in the old days, I guess, you shake everybody's hand, respect. And he saw Riddle, and he said, "Yeah, he just bust his ass a little bit." They're there he is. And Matt, rather than go introduce, just kind of bloodshot eye, looked at him "Sup?" And then went back to his conversation. And Orton was like, "That motherfucker." So, but basically, he said the more they got to know each other, he really liked him once they got over that little bullshit hump. And he said, it's just the way it is. But Orton said, he thinks that Matt's got the best chance of making it over than any NXT guys. There's just something about him. So maybe now that they're teaming up, that's going to be good for Riddle because obviously Orton's got more stroke in that company than a lot of people too.
Absolutely. I guess her favorite wrestler, as she'll tell you 17 times today. And
every episode of the show, you can just find out.
Bro.
I'm with everybody else. I'm with Randy Orton. When I first saw him, I was like, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't wear shoes. I have big feet phobia. I can't handle that.
That's still good.
Arcade Bro's about to go fucking insane.
It's going to.
But he's won me over. Over the weeks, he has legit won me over.
The scooter thing was so. I love it when he's like through the locker room, like he just flies by segments. And like, who the fuck was that guy?
Yeah.
I
He's
think
like, hi, this bro, and he's a pot reference.
Who
Corny as
doesn't? Who
fuck.
doesn't love
Every time
Riddle?
he's on
Who
TV,
could?
he makes a pot joke.
Yes,
I think the fact that he's just like this legit badass in real life, he just doesn't care. Like you give him something stupid, he's like, "This is what you want me to do, bro." You know, he'll just do it. Like that's just who he really
Bro
is.
nuts, he says.
Yeah,
Bro
is this what you want me to say?
Yeah.
How high is he really?
RVD rolling papers.
Yeah. And that same interview, I know something. Orton was talking about something in his life, and I remember he used the phrase, "I channeled my inner Matt Riddle." So that should tell you his reputation of he's very RVD. So
Yeah, that's
a big
vibe
Mania
I get
moment.
from him, too.
yeah, those two.
It's like you forget he lost because he broed out with RVD.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I thought he wrestled. It was just like-
Exactly. He was having such a good time, he forgot about it.
All right, so we'll get to the shit show here in a second.
that's
Is that another show?
Oh, is that the new name for Raw?
No,
now?
that
Okay.
used to be a thing, but
I think the Raw show took that name.
all right, stop talking about Raw. Making me sick.
Hold on that.
Hours.
Every time we say Raw,
All right, SmackDown. The only thing, it was a pretty good show. The last hour kind of put me to sleep, but whatever. The first hour of SmackDown was one segment, which was kind of weird. So you get Roman versus Bryan for the 37th time in the last 5 months. If Bryan loses, he leaves SmackDown. I think we all think he's going to lose.
Yeah, I mean,
Watch him win.
well, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
Like, what do you
exactly.
guys? I never actually talked to you guys about SmackDown. Like, what, do you guys see any Daniel Bryan hope at all this Friday night?
No. It's not even like, again, like I love Bryan. He's awesome. And I actually like Roman. I like his character. But the way they've built these two,
Yeah,
I don't see how this goes any other way. I mean, I was telling Joe the other day, there's this ridiculous thing I heard on maybe it was Observer or something, but there was ranking like IQ tests by this bet company. So it was a gambling company. And WWE fans scored the highest. Well, they scored the highest because they know what the storylines are going to be. And the Roman Reigns matches in particular, they guessed right. Well, yeah, because we know Roman's just been putting over. And I don't see him, as strong as he's been built, I don't see him losing on a random SmackDown.
fact.
I'm surprised this match is being booked this way, though. I'm surprised it's not on pay-per-view. But they made it very clear he's leaving SmackDown if he loses.
Right, just
So-
met WWE.
That's right.
I love the
SmackDown.
people on the internet that's like, yeah, it's so nice of Vince to let Daniel Bryan go to AEW. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Jesus.
You know,
That's
let
why
me
I
clear out one of my
say
top
Yeah.
5 biggest names real quick and send him
Right.
down
That's
there.
why I
to-
stay off the these
that
days.
stupid fan.
Daniel Bryan would be so dope in Pinnacle.
Joe, is Daniel Bryan winning this Friday?
No, I think if anything, this is his chance to get off TV and maybe just go to a producer role. I'd like to see him end up in like an NXT, but I think this is his way to kind of end an on-screen run and help these guys backstage.
Fair enough. So you don't think you think he might be a producer and not go on the NXT roster, but he'll produce the shows. I gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him in the ring, but if they're not going to let him go, why wouldn't he just want the job where he doesn't have to beat up his body? Save himself up for after WWE.
I think that's going to be the end game here, but I think the fact that they drilled the point home that he's not going to be on SmackDown is just like leaving like, well, he's going somewhere else.
I can see that.
And I think he'll have a short run with NXT or Raw. God knows he's probably more needed on Raw, but I want him on NXT. And he'd probably be a ratings boost for NXT, despite the fact that also they're going to like work with these guys. So I think NXT is the best choice. He's probably what he ultimately wants. The guy behind the scenes always wants to work with new talent. He was a supporter of Ali back in the day, whatever it was 2 years ago. Like he's always trying to work with new talented people. So
Sure.
I think that's exactly where he's going to show up.
NXT.
I think he's going to pop
I
up at
think
the
so,
next
yeah.
takeover because it's a few months away. It's in like August. He could disappear for a while.
Take some time off.
Whoever the hell's, it's going to be Crawl still, I'm sure. So like he's going to NXT is where I think he's going to go.
what, I mean, him and Gargano though, just seeing him like picture him cut a promo on Gargano, like beating up Austin Theory and saying, knock off this goofy, bring Johnny Wrestling back and let me see what you can do. And then they just tear it up. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to see that.
Sure.
Pete Dunne says he's the best tentacle wrestler in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel
I'd
Bryan
start with Pete Dunne. Yeah.
comes down.
Yep.
I've been telling Chuck forever about Pete Dunne. If you ignore, Chuck doesn't like his hair.
Listen,
I don't
But
either. It's disgusting.
We can all shave off this part of our head and then
Like,
this go
you
all
were-
the way down.
you
But
hear
it doesn't
like,
make
I don't like this person. They have a fucked up
What?
haircut.
well,
Well,
yeah.
I'm a woman.
That's
that,
why
that
Dusty-
is
And then,
disgusting.
he used to
That is
hate Riddle
gross.
because he didn't wear shoes. Now
Yeah.
look at you.
Well, that
Well,
is
he-
disgusting.
He
now
proved me
now
wrong.
he has birds flying out of his pyro when he
Well.
kicks his sandals off.
That's still not.
Why do birds?
All right, Yvonne. Daniel Bryan, you're going to be the one that says he's going to win, right?
No, I'm not. No, he's not going to
What
win.
fucking good are you then?
He's not going to
All
win.
right, where's he going?
I assume going to NXT.
I hope we're right.
I hope we are too.
I hope we see him on Raw. This
I
is
got this is a random question. Yvonne, what shirt are you wearing there? Yvonne, what shirt are you wearing? It's distracting me.
Rose Alpha shirt.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I had an RSH shirt on earlier, but I was caught in the rainstorm, got drenched, so I'm like, put my wrestling shirt on. So
she got sick of her. Don't let her lie to you.
She went to the clearance rack at Walmart, and they have these on
shut
deck.
up! Don't criticize Chris Jericho.
They're actually giving it away at the store. They're just take this.
You have the same shirt.
No, free shit.
Oh my gosh,
I like Chris Jericho. Did you guys watch his Stone Cold podcast? It was good.
It was
shit.
good.
it was really
It was
good.
good.
I have
yeah.
not yet.
Pretty good.
What the fuck?
And Stone Cold's actually on his too. I listened to that as well.
No, listen
Yeah.
to that.
It was
Yeah,
actually
they followed up. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like right after that. Yeah,
it was actually more about Stone Cold, so it was pretty good.
Mhm.
See, that would be the more interesting one because it doesn't have Vince producing it. So I feel that one would have more honesty.
This was really, honestly, the WWE one. Like Vince, I don't know how much. I think it's just probably a few things that are like, okay, we're not going to go into them winning ratings or anything like that. We're not going to talk about that, pal. But
No.
you can talk about why you got here, creative stuff, and they can do whatever that. Because I was surprised. I mean, it was only a few minutes in. They were already talking Tony Khan and MJF and Sammy Guevara. They were mentioning talent. So
Oh yeah, it was good. And Jericho said that he got so drunk that night he forgot how to get back to his hotel room. So it was one of them party nights.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Stone Cold, like, everybody he has on there, he gets out the jack.
Yeah.
oh yeah, him and Taker.
I was not pissed. I was jealous of the Undertaker, or not the Undertaker. God damn it! I was jealous of Stone Cold on the Jericho podcast because he whipped out not Jack Daniels, he whipped out Blanton's, which I can't find and is sold out everywhere. So his Grey Goose vodka, and Austin's drinking his horse
Grey
covered
Goose is so
Blanton's. I don't like vodka either, but man, like I can't find that anywhere. And typically, Stone Cold's drinking the whiskey that I drink, and I just can't find Blanton's. He's over here showing off his star power, drinking Blanton's.
The only time vodka's good when you're around the ladies.
I don't like vodka at all.
Gosh, you
I want to know about that, but
You know who doesn't drink vodka? Charlotte. You know why?
Here we go.
because she drinks whiskey.
She's
like
not a
man.
lady.
There you
Yeah,
go.
because
You started on yourself. There you go. It's your fault.
Anyway, we got off track. What were we talking about?
it's SmackDown. So we all think he's going to have been NXT.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
Ryan, Stone Cold, and Chris Jericho's whiskey.
Charlotte. Exactly. And that'll.
All right, now we're going straight to the shitter. Let's talk about Raw.
Here we go.
Where do I start? Okay, let's start at the biggest pile of shit on the show, Charlotte.
Josh's future wife.
I asked Chuck and Yvonne this before
He's
we
in
went
love
on
with
the
her.
air.
He
So
is.
this Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville tension they're slowly building. Where do you guys think this is going to end up? Because they're building towards something, it seems like.
Yeah, and Sonya seems to be more of the heel here. Like I go back, I think it was a few weeks ago, the first time this happened, where I was Cesaro wanting to get a match with Roman, and she said, "I'll check with Paul and Roman and see if that's okay with them." And you see Pierce kind of giving that look, and it's been every week since then. So I think this is going to go where Sonya's going to be associated with somebody. Will it be somebody on Raw, with the Hurt Business, or will it be Roman? I don't know, but she definitely seems like she's going to have more of a heel side to her.
I dig it.
I think they split them.
I think.
I think you give one Raw, one SmackDown, and we have GMs again.
That could be interesting.
That's something they need to
the
do.
GM so bad.
Producer Joe, what are they producing over there? What are they doing?
I thought it was her getting back into the ring somehow, maybe making her a heel, getting her in some kind of team with Charlotte.
I agree with that.
My early Money in the Bank prediction, she's my pick right now to win.
Sonya
So-
Deville.
That's a good.
I would like that.
Establishing the character a little more. Yeah, I can see that.
She's got authority. She puts herself in the match,
I would
does
like
all
that.
the shit. She goes over. We know she's been she's one of those talented women that's just waiting and waiting. And when as much good talent they have in the women's division, like Asuka, really isn't that relevant. I'm scared as fuck for Ripley right now.
So yeah,
that woman on NXT the other night that beat Toni Storm is more over than Rhea on Raw. And that's
definitely
Like,
She
true.
almost killed herself.
Yeah.
That shooting star express.
they can't book. That's why Jason Jordan, hopefully he fucking pays dividends, because they did have to restructure like the whole creative team for like the 35th time since 2010. But it's rough. You can tell what's a better produced show.
Sure.
SmackDown is
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it feels like Raw is not a WWE product, because you watch NXT and the storylines in the wrestling's so good. You watch SmackDown, the entertainment's kind of better. The wrestling's good, but it's more of an entertainment factor.
Sure.
You watch Raw, I have no idea what the fuck I'm watching.
It's
half
a
the time.
train wreck.
You
It's all
got
over the
Nia Jax slipping and sliding up the ramp.
Her whole
Like,
the
She's
fuck.
falling off
The whole
ramp.
thing was cool. And then
It
they
wasn't
ruined-
cool. It
No,
was disgusting.
It was hilarious.
It wasn't. It was juvenile. It was
The only hole is disgusting Charlotte's mouth.
Oh, here we go.
But anyway, right, where do you guys think
Real-
this is
You
going?
just love her. Just admit that.
real
on this
quick.
show.
We're talking about. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
We're
fine.
talking about producers and stuff. I just read an article today actually where Tyson Kidd, huge fan of the show, has been on it and stuff. He a couple of the women's wrestlers from NXT were like talking and thanking him for all he
That's
did
awesome.
for that division in NXT.
Yeah, he's
So
He
it's,
does a good job.
it's a big deal.
he
Mhm.
produced every women's match at Mania.
That's a big
He
deal.
did a
All
good
of
job.
them.
Absolutely.
And like so, producing and people don't think about wrestling producers, but they're a big deal.
They
Like,
sure are.
The agents,
Yeah.
producers, all that
They
stuff.
play a big
Yeah.
part. Yes, they do.
Yeah, Fit Finley a few years ago, he was huge with a lot of the women wrestlers and stuff too. Especially he was taking them over back then too, when there was a lot of just models and stuff like that. He had to get what he could out of them. And now that they got all this extra talent in there, like
that's crazy now.
Roger Bailey, women's wrestling. It's so funny. I mean, I think we did this on our show where we talk about like greatest matches and storylines of all time, and we. You go to your era and it's like, okay, like the 80s or the Attitude Era, and you like this, that. But with women's matches, it's kind of all now or in the last few years, because
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
never been better from,
Like,
women's perspective.
2016 is when the women started to really take off. I
They
think
did,
whatever
absolutely.
era you consider that, but that's when they really started to be more relevant.
NXT Brooklyn,
Yep.
Yeah.
Bailey and Sasha is when it started.
Well,
Yeah, that was, I think, technically 2015 Brooklyn. And then,
I
they
saw-
started to come up.
it was
Right.
just
2015 is when they started it, because I remember I went to the Money in the Bank 2015,
oh, cool.
and then me and my brother went to the Raw after it. And that is when they had like the locker room promo that kind of was beginning to get that ball rolling. So it took a good year for them to get behind it. And then,
Mhm.
I mean, thank God it finally caught on.
Hell yeah.
You know what's crazy? So 2015. This
Wow.
was what the fuck's the main date here? So it is
Well, 16 I started
August.
watching NXT.
August 22nd of 2015. Walter defeats Pete Dunne, wins the UK championship. Motherfuckers had it
Shit,
since.
he's been going back. He's gone
had
back
it a
down.
long time, hasn't he?
Wait,
Wow.
Walter's been the UK champion since 2015?
Whatever the fuck this date is. Brooklyn.
No, because
No.
on the 2017 Pete
All
Dunne's
right, my bad.
UK.
Wrong Brooklyn. April 5th,
There we
2019.
go.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. I'm like, he's had it
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, this guy's going into Bruno Sammartino territory.
Hold on. This says 2015. Whatever.
Walter
All right.
was not even.
So listen,
The
here's the
champion in the
2015 card from where Bailey and Sasha had my favorite women's match ever. You had Balor and KO in a ladder match. We watched this.
Mm-hmm.
He was the
my
demon.
apartment.
Yeah, he was the demon.
I
He fought
gotcha.
KO. Samoa Joe beat Baron Corbin by submission. Apollo Crews beat I Still Can't Get Myself Over Ty Dillinger. The Vaudevillains, who I actually really like the Vaudevillains, they beat Blake and Murphy with Alexa Bliss, and Justin Thunder Liger beat Tyler Breeze. That was also a very good match.
That's a
I like
pretty loaded
Walter.
roster,
I
actually.
might have to go back and rewatch it. That might be my favorite takeover.
That was a really good one.
I don't remember it, but it sounds good.
I remember Bailey.
That's because we were
and
drinking
Sasha.
during it. We were
Wow,
playing-
you don't remember Liger versus Breeze in that opener? It was just
Ugh.
wild to see Liger
Yep.
in the WWE
Ooh.
and doing something outside of ROH for the first time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he'd
man,
been
that's
big
right.
on those War of the World shows.
I'm not sure how familiar these guys are with Liger, but Liger was big in the early WCW, like 93, like cruiserweight days. He was from New Japan, like he was big in Japan, and then he went over to the States, and a lot of WCW fans really loved him, and he did like a lot of great light heavyweight matches with Brian Pillman, Pillman Sr. Right, and then he never had a WWF run, and he was getting ready to retire, and Triple H talked to him, and they had him come up for that match at Brooklyn. They put him over. They had a great match. Yeah.
It was a really good match.
That's through the name. Like the history, I wasn't really aware. I knew he was an old
I remember
wrestler, but
WCW's when I first seen him.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Yeah, it's like in Japan. I think there's like a comic book and a cartoon about him. Hugely over the horns. I love it. So.
Yeah, and he had done something with the WWF. It was one of those WWF. I want to say either SWS or New Japan co-produced shows.
Like this old.
There is a picture of Vince McMahon pointing him out to the ring in, I believe, Tokyo.
Very nice.
And he's in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah.
Well,
He was in the 2020 class.
That's cool. I knew the name. I can't picture his face right now, but I got you.
All right. Great.
He's got horns.
So let's somebody's face we can't stand. And we're talking about Charlotte.
I love Charlotte. Woo!
Yeah, that's why
Chad,
going
stop.
last.
Really? Me and Chuck,
Go.
we're the only positive
Just
about on
talk.
this show.
Words come out of your mouth, please.
So Charlotte getting her suspended, getting lifted. I'm not surprised she's Charlotte Flair. I mean, I think.
Stop.
Well, I'm not surprised. Adam Pearce was way out of line with that. As a woman, I agree with that. Angers, Tippers, Flair.
Oh, she beat the shit out of
Well,
a
if the
referee.
referee was doing his job, he wouldn't have got the crap.
Okay, it
down.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry.
I love the wrestling storylines when you think about it too. Like this is pretty universul, no matter the company. If the referee was doing his job, I would have had to beat the shit out of him. Could you imagine that, like in an NFL? Or
The referee do your job, and you wouldn't get assaulted. For me and my
So
that's
if
so pro wrestling.
I'm going to go to your work and get a buck and bring me a Miller. I'm punching you square in your nose.
Do your job. You're my
my
assistant.
boss.
What the fuck do you play for the Patriots? Do your job or you're fired.
Jesus.
How rough was that apology angle, though? Like,
Dude, it's terrible.
I was watching that, and I'm just like, all right, so we watched people say "I'm sorry" to each other. Like,
You can tell it's kind of
That's good shit.
Like, hold the rope down for me.
One thing it kind of reminded me of, this is very loosely, but it kind of reminded me of when Triple H lost the belt to Chris Jericho at Raw back in 2000 or whatever year it was, and then like he beat the shit out of Earl Hebner.
Oh, right.
And then like, but he
Got
had to
it right back,
but he
yeah.
reversed it because of
Yeah.
Earl Hebner being the referee because he agreed with Triple H to not get his ass beat or something. So, like, what is going on with these referees in WWE?
It was like the Authority storyline. They bullied him in there and stuff. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That was a big moment for Jericho back in the day.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the first time getting that taste of that world title. Yeah.
I would remember sitting with my dad in like 6th grade, all excited because I hated Triple H so much.
Wait a minute.
It still carries over to this day in adulthood. Not
Is that why you don't watch NXT?
Right.
So I give him shit all the time. I was like, listen, you need to pay more attention to NXT. He watches the takeovers and he really enjoyed takeovers.
Sure.
Well, stop it. Who the fuck? If you don't like that, you're not a wrestling fan.
Exactly.
I told him, stop watching Raw. Just watch NXT. Take that 3 hours you don't. We'll hit the big shit. We see it on Twitter. Just watch NXT. Fuck Raw. Start just watching NXT.
Exactly.
Maybe.
If you like TakeOver now, imagine when you have the whole story.
Well, I feel like with NXT,
You've had that same feeling since like day one.
Not to get off topic too much, but I feel like if I just watch the NXT pay-per-views or takeovers, that's plenty. Because every match
They have one every 5 months.
plenty. Because every match is the same in NXT.
They're
wow,
doing-
that's how I view Raw and SmackDown. I'm fine if I just watch the pay-per-views because that'll give me my fix of WWE wrestling. But I gotta agree with Josh on this one as far as storylines, things that make sense, and quality in ring.
It's the Jays.
NXT is so much better. But I mean,
The
I
fucking
would
million
also
man was on there last night.
W over everything.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
fucking Cameron Grimes. He's all rich.
I don't. I,
$1 million
man.
man.
I never liked $1 Million Man. To be honest.
It doesn't matter. I didn't fucking care for me. But the storyline.
I like that to the moon shit though. That got
To the moon.
Cameron Grimes. I got that entrance song on my fucking phone.
But yeah, Joe. Though you're right. Actually, I missed Raw last week. I didn't watch it all. I said screw it,
pretty
taking a
sad.
week off, and I
We're
watched.
not sorry.
I watched
about
Raw this week's Raw yesterday, and they showed all the highlights you needed to see to be caught up. So like, why watch it every
Thank
week?
God for fast forward. And we don't
This
have to
is the
watch
Raw recap.
See, I just find recap podcasts that I like. Wrestling
you go.
with Regret does a good one. Post does a real good one. And that kind of covers the points if there's a match I need to see. like I would recommend Riddle versus Orton to people if you haven't watched Raw from
I actually did because I wanted to see that. I saw YouTube that part.
Yeah.
Dude,
Because I
very
don't watch as much. Like I said, I haven't been watching Raw as much because I've been watching so much other wrestling that I haven't time. But I still keep up with it. I just find a recap show that generally has the same where I kind of line with. And if they say, "Oh, that was an awesome show," I'm like, "All right, fine. Let's see what we got here," you know. But man, every week it's been like, you can tell these guys don't want to do it. They sound like we do right now. Like,
Yeah.
Oh God, this.
I know. And I'm sitting here looking at the banners like we still got fucking two more things to talk
But to
about.
finish, what about Charlotte?
Sorry.
You guys are fine. NXT is the best show.
I was hoping you were done.
Well, I'm done talking. But with Sonya, I would like to see Sonya go to Raw.
right.
I would like to see Sonya go to Raw, actually.
Mm.
Their ratings are bad. And I really think Sonya and Charlotte may have something up their sleeve together.
Let's put them in a tag team.
No, not that. I think they're working together
Tag team player.
because all of a sudden
I
Charlotte
want
gets
to channel my
suspended.
Vince McMahon voice. Hold on.
Her suspension gets lifted out of nowhere. Like, seriously, other superstars would just be suspended. Charlotte got a special treatment for some reason. So, and then Pierce goes to SmackDown. I don't know.
We got this new woman named Rhea Ripley. She's badass that could wrestle. Let's bring her to Raw.
You got it.
Let's give her the title. Then let's fucking give it to Charlotte. That's just such good shit.
There he is.
See,
Yeah, let's create another star that Charlotte can devour and just eat bigger.
That's right.
You know that shit we do with Braun when Charlotte falls out of the ring? Let's play a fucking choo-choo train.
If we paid attention to Sonya, she went right after Mandy Rose. She punished Mandy Rose for going after Nia. She's like, how dare you interrupt her? So Sonya automatically put her in a match against Charlotte. So Sonya's already calling shots at like Mandy and some of the Raw members of the
I'm
women's
telling you
roster.
right now.
So she's going to come to Raw and make their life miserable. That's
Money
what
in the
she's gonna
bank.
do.
dude, Sonya looks the best in a suit. I've never seen anybody look
As
as
she
good as
is.
Sonya does in
She's
a suit.
incredible.
Seth.
Dude, she's so.
She's incredible.
Seth's suit game's
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Sonya just looks good. She makes me wish I was a lesbian a little bit.
I'm cool enough for my sexuality to say Seth looks great. All right. Speaking of somebody who looks great and without a suit,
Quit
Alexa
wearing his hair in
Bliss.
a bun.
So apparently her and The Fiend are completely not together anymore.
I'm over it.
I don't even fucking start.
It's very confusing.
Don't even fucking start. I'm over
I
this.
both had a lot to say to this, and I've got nothing to say about this. because I was watching the Raw recap on Hulu. It made it to this segment, and it was probably the third sentence in. I'm like, you know what? Nope.
That is
I got SmackDown to watch, and I don't know what the fuck this is.
Dude, she's going to start attack.
Cheers, John.
It's going to. She's going to be in person next week, like actually doing shit in the ring.
It's just very confused where this went.
Yeah, I mean, seriously,
Very
guys.
confusing.
Alexa Bliss is really good. She's talentless across the board. The Fiend,
Across the board.
the Fiend, yeah, I mean,
Across the board.
Yeah.
the Fiend with her, that's a good thing. But for her to continue to do this character and not be connected with the Fiend, it's a waste of
Kinda.
time.
I mean, it doesn't seem like they're connected. They still could be.
They
at some
still
point.
might be. They have to be. They
Right.
have to be. But
I think with this storyline, you got to see where it's going because at any time, if you look at the Fiend in just like that episode, you'll be like, "What the fuck is this?"
sure.
But then as time has gone on, they've done good things with it. They've done garbage with it. It's kind of like the stock market. It's how long are you going to stay in? And when are you like, come on, we got to cash out. This ain't paying off.
And WWE is very good at just fucking staying in forever.
They are.
will do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. I love the Fiend in the beginning. Now I kind of miss the old Bray Wyatt days. Like,
Well, I think I want him to come back. Well, they need to do more. One, I mean, honestly, she cost him WrestleMania. It's the same shit week in and week out. I want to see him kind of maybe be more than just the Fiend and Bray Wyatt. Maybe do some flashbacks of the Wyatt family. Maybe bring that character back.
Right.
And the three faces of Foley. We need to
Right.
start doing that kind of
Right.
stuff.
What pay-per-view did he actually fight as Brady?
I forget. It was
He
brought
threw
up.
Strowman.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds
it was
right.
before SummerSlam.
That was
then
Swamp match.
the swamp match.
Swamp match.
swamp match, right?
Because he threw Brum because we thought he lost,
Sure.
and then he popped back up and pulled Braun in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That money
they drowned Braun and then
What's
Braun.
That pop culture bullshit. That motherfucker thought he won the belt that night.
Is that
Remember?
right? I
Because Bray
kinda-
came back. That's what we
Yeah.
used to do. Remember, we used to do live watch-alongs of
Oh,
pay-per-views.
that got
I
rough.
remember that. I remember you guys doing that.
Man,
And the Lily doll's creepy, by the way, too. So.
Dude, I can
it's
appreciate that
creepy,
kind of
yeah.
shit.
We've all seen The Conjuring. Like,
I like
Yeah,
the
like,
kind of that. I can't look at it in the face.
Dude,
It's
I got
creepy.
Jigsaw, Annabelle, and Chucky in my living room. Like, I don't give and a haunted
you have
doll.
a haunted doll in
That
the
Chuck.
living room. Hell,
So Chuck comes over for WrestleMania. So I've had some weird shit
that
going
shit's
on.
haunted.
And then
AF.
Chuck looks at it and he goes, "Yeah, that thing's definitely haunted." I was like, "I've had it for 5 years." He goes, "Still haunted."
Tell me where you bought it. Tell me where you
I
bought
bought it at the flea
it.
market.
That's where you buy haunted shit.
Yeah, that's where you got on a shit.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. It said 75 cents. I was like,
There,
he's
you're
kind of
not
cute.
ripped
And I bought it for no
Is
reason.
this what the countdown on Facebook's been about? I'm a lot
No.
more scared when we get to like 5 days. I'm gonna be like, oh no.
So did some old man sell it to you? And he goes, ah.
Listen, I'll update the countdown tomorrow. I got to do math to figure out which day we're on. That's not the point.
Oh man.
What's that countdown to?
If I was going to just say it, I wouldn't do a fucking countdown.
Okay, Chris Jericho.
I'm gonna interrupt The Rock in one of his shitty movies. Make a career out of it.
This is a long play one because you've been doing it for like 60 days or something. Like,
I like
like 2 weeks out, but now I'm gonna forget what it is, and it's gonna happen on Facebook. I'm gonna be like, oh, it was 5 days ago that I saw 5 days. I just hope this pays off, unlike Raw. Like,
Well,
we're invested, Josh.
Yes, captivated. We're captivated.
I'm a long-term storyteller.
That's what I want to hear.
just don't make Tyler Peters cry, whatever you do.
No,
He's crying.
no, he'll be all right. So the one highlight of Raw was RK Bro. So we talked
Absolutely.
about it at the very beginning of
That
the
shit's
show.
funny.
Yeah, we did.
I'll start with the working fans, guys. So where do you guys see this going? A few month run? They're inevitably going to split and feud.
Yeah.
But how long do you think they give them a run?
God, that's so hard to tell with WWE nowadays.
It's
I'm
not going to
hoping-
be long enough.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm hoping we can at least make it to a little before SummerSlam, and maybe this pays off with a SummerSlam match. That we'll get some matches out of them. Or maybe they'll get a brief one with the tag belts. I don't know. We haven't seen AJ and almost since
They were in Nigeria, right?
With Apollo?
Oh shit!
They said Nigeria.
Oh yeah, they were in Nigeria
Apollo and his
hanging out with.
anoint-
They were meeting Apollo Cruz's family. They said it on the bump. They're like, "Where have you guys been?" They're like, "We're in Nigeria partying."
What is wrong with you?
Is that where Omos is from?
No, really, as children, he has a title. Seriously, stop.
They were on the bump yesterday.
That's where everybody from Raw Underground apparently was from. That's where they're all ending up now, I guess.
All of them.
Yeah.
Shit, that's true because the other guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. What's the dude's name who was hanging out with that rapper? What was his name? That's what I thought the Nigerian guy was. They're the same
Bad
person.
Bunny,
Yeah, who's the Bad Bunny?
Priest.
Yeah.
I already forgot about Damian Priest.
Yeah.
That's pitiful.
I thought
That is pitiful.
Apollo's
My point exactly.
bodyguard was Damian Priest. And I was very
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny though. That guy's like kind of fat. Priest is like
same thing. Yeah, put a coat on. Same thing.
My example of you already forgot, that's pitiful.
Who's that? General Aziz is kind of fat.
Who was it?
General Aziz. That's
General
right.
Aziz,
Yeah, you got the name right.
Opportunity. Wasn't he like a sumo before he joined WWE?
Oh, I don't know. You're dropping
He's
some
not
knowledge
huge
stuff.
size. I mean, he's still slim. Maybe he's not.
He's not.
Not
huge.
like a fat sumo, but like one of those dudes.
They
That,
got some medium fat sumos. I hear what you're talking about.
yeah, like he doesn't shop at a regular store. He goes to a big.
He's size 42, not 48. Calm down. Yeah.
I want to get these sumo weight classes down. Is it like fat and then kind of fat and then
He's just
Yokozuna?
rounded, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, Earthquake was probably on the smaller side of sumos. Not
Yeah, Earthquake
too
was
far
sumo,
off
yeah.
topic.
Actually, Haku was a sumo too, and he wasn't fat. He was just whatever weight class.
He had a
Big,
big, like
thick boy.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I could see that. He was beefy though. Like
Yeah,
He was
but
just
he
one of
wasn't even
those Highland
Bronson
folks.
Reed. Bronson Reed thick though.
he was slim beef. He was like
Yeah,
quarter pounder, not
he
double
was
pounder.
a bad man.
My ex-fiance could have been a sumo wrestler.
Your ex-fiance.
Yeah,
This isn't a marriage.
she sits on somebody's face. They out.
Oh, you
God.
shit.
We'll get in.
We don't need to hear
That's
your love
appropriate.
life.
We're
This is
35.
Dave's talk right here.
This is my pre-show talk.
Okay, bro, not your.
Well, you can also go visit her at the zoo, but that's a whole different thing.
Jesus
I
Christ.
like the zoo. So
Shout out to the ex-fiance.
Goody goo goo.
Yeah,
Was it Harambe?
you bitch. Dude,
I feel like that's what they're describing.
dude, you remember? So we went to a
It's
Raw.
like somebody shaved down a Sasquatch.
She's a Bigfoot.
Listen, we
The
went to
bitch is a
Raw.
Bigfoot.
The fucking Harambe chant. You remember? Kept taking over Raw. They kept chanting, "Hey, we want Harambe" during the whole fucking show. It was great. And this show was the most disrespectful fans they'd ever seen in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
And they were never bringing a pay-per-view here.
Oh yeah. Got an Adam's apple chant going
You
for
did
Charlotte,
what you did.
and we got
You scared a small
a
family
couple
away.
of family.
He scared a small
A
face.
family saw us, got the fuck up and left after. Oh, I told Bailey to break her
Break her
effing neck.
neck,
Yeah.
You know how silent when they're wrestling and like it's just you're watching the match and it's silent. Break your fucking neck and die, Bailey. And this
Somebody-
little girl
Yeah,
in a Bailey shirt just looks at him,
Yeah, heartbroken.
tears up, and the family looks at him and they fucking get up and leave.
In my defense, the dad had like long gel parted hair. You know what I mean?
That doesn't justify it.
Like,
It's not the worst thing his daughter heard this week. Don't worry.
The guys greased her hair. It's disgusting.
Listen, I'm entitled to risk for Bailey to break her neck. That guy had bad hair.
it was really funny because like, dude, it was dead quiet, and I forget who she was wrestling with. Somebody had her in a headlock, so I just, we've been drinking like,
Yeah.
and this girl out, break her fucking neck, and that echoed, man,
Oh, it did.
echoed. Family left.
They were not-
They went somewhere else and sat. They were out.
Yeah, they were like, "This is not the event we showed up."
Yeah,
for."
man.
We made a mistake.
Get a small Adam's apple chant
You
going
did.
from Charlotte to
You
the
did.
ring, and I kind of felt bad about that because she heard that, and that's mean.
That's deadly honest.
That's mean.
That's why she's upgraded her boobs a couple times.
Yeah, that's why
She goes, I cannot deal with it.
That's exactly what
Yeah, you're the reason why this girl's having plastic surgery all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, have you
I
looked
said
at
it like me in the
No, it's Andrade. He wants her to look perfect.
it seems to bother you. You've noticed quite a bit. You really
It's
like
hard
her.
not to
I
notice
know,
when she
but
walks. You hear the plastic popping. It's like
why
smiles. You
can't
can
you
see
find
it
like someone
move.
like
It's like,
Charlotte to be my sister?
I felt guilty about it, guys. So it's okay. 'cause
no,
I
you
felt
don't.
bad about
You
it.
don't.
You can
No, you-
Andrade's in bed. It sounds like he's rolling around on a bunch of empty trash bags or like empty plastic bags. Plastic.
well, she looks this way. She's
All
probably
right.
tortured.
So
Anyway,
we still have people for some reason watching.
yeah, no, we're making ourselves look bad real quick.
All right.
Mm.
Sebastian wants to know where the fuck is Edge?
Where is it?
Oh, he took a bunch of steroids and he popped up on Impact Rebellion
Oh, yeah.
weekend.
Oh
Big
my god.
Cass. Big Cass looks like Edge just took like all the steroids in the world. I couldn't believe it. I was looking at it like, that's fucking Edge, but like he
Yeah.
ate Edge and took a bunch of steroids.
He said, "You know me."
You
know you
Now
don't.
you know.
Dope. Holy shit.
That guy, he's gonna have a bad future. I feel.
Yeah.
I feel.
Oh, he
you
already
know,
got fired from WWE for being an alcoholic.
Then he had like a stroke at a house show. He looked rough.
Oh, yeah.
No, we would get fired.
And I mean, I wouldn't
Chuck
get
and
hired.
Josh drank too much.
Yeah. guys
Yeah, I
would
can't
get
even
fired.
get it.
We were gonna put the tag straps on him, but no.
Got fired.
But think about it, though, for a minute, he was at the top of his game. He was engaged to Carmella.
Yep.
He bought a great house. Then he broke his leg, and then not long after, she's banging Corey
Corey
Graves.
Graves.
Are you kidding
Yep.
me? And now he looks like a Goliath Edge. So I don't know what's going on, but
He
Somebody got his smile back, apparently.
he had an interview on like Busted Open. He apparently about died
mhm.
God.
Yeah.
not long ago. Like he called Enzo and was like, "Help."
Oh.
He called Mark Henry and was like, "Dude, I think I'm about done." And
Yeah.
now he's back. So
Well, it's cool. That's cool that he can do that. I couldn't ask for help. Are
you know what
kidding
his
me?
end game is? I like
How
he-
fuck do you got to be though to call Enzo for help?
Well, that's why he called Mark Henry after that. He's like, wait.
To be fair, if you're like dying and you're like, and you Enzo's on the phone, that energy's gonna wake your ass up. Like, hey, spell it with me. I spell soft.
Yeah, what are you, soft?
Or you,
R-E-H.
Morrissey, you got to dial 911. You don't call Enzo Amore for fucking health advice.
you know how you fix the Raw rating? You get them two back on Raw.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Hell yeah.
I still got the
The
t-shirts.
first
They
fucking
closed it.
thing you
I
do,
still
Less steroids, though. Like, calm down on the
So you know
steroids.
how the fucking Hardys fucked up their WrestleMania moment years ago by coming back. Everybody thought it was so great, but it really fucked Cass and Enzo because they were going to win the straps before the Hardys agreed to
I
come
love
back.
the Hardys, though. That was a great intro.
So you fix it. You're like, AJ and Obos is going to challenge any tag team in the world, and you sell it for a month.
Here's how you
Then
fix
they
it.
both come back.
You get Matt Hardy back, and then you have Enzo.
No,
Cass
I don't want
interrupt
Matt Hardy
the
back.
Hardy Boys.
Matt Hardy's doing so great on AEW. He's had 9 different gimmicks that still aren't over.
He's managing now with lots of money.
He's
now,
hanging out with the
fine.
Street Profits.
Street Profits late.
Is that the right one?
Private Party.
Think about it.
Private Party.
Yeah, at first I wanted broken Matt Hardy, but I
That's
like
the-
that he settled into a different gimmick. I didn't like the new gimmick at first, but now I'm like, you know what? He's trying something different. It's
Hold on.
working for whatever it is.
Sebastian, he really didn't leave. That was a joke. Edge is still with WWE.
He just took a week off.
He's selling his concerto shit right now.
Taking getting hurt.
I haven't seen AEW in probably about a year, so I can't attest
And
to Matt Hardy's.
I'm the only one at this table that still watches.
He's as relevant as he was with WWE.
He's
I
definitely.
love the Hardy Boys. They're fantastic.
Yvonne, I'm curious. What did you watch AEW? What are some of your favorite performers there?
Guevara. I like Guevara.
I can't stand his teeth.
See, dude, I can't fucking deal with you. Like hair, teeth, feet, muscle tone. Like, I hate him because he has a great smile. It's like, what a fucking dick
He
move.
sounds just like a woman, though. He really does. He sounds like me.
Who, me? Oh, so Chuck.
Oh, she's talking shit now.
Yeah. She thought she was complimenting you. That's a woman, though.
All right.
You sound like me.
My wife says the same thing.
You sound like me criticizing how guys look.
All right. Hey, working fans, guys. So when we.
Josh, you've never hated anybody for a haircut?
No, I don't give a fuck.
Us women have.
Oh, wow.
I get mad about hair.
So I throw up my hashtag.
Hair.
When we just start ranting, I throw up this hashtag. Please follow this on Twitter.
Dave, I also like Kenny Omega. Never used to like him. I actually do like Kenny.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm glad
I
that
know, I'm
AEW
sorry.
paid for the Impact title for him.
He's such a good heel. It's hard not to like
Let
Kenny.
me ask you guys,
hard.
since you guys do watch AW, what the fuck's Impact getting out of this deal?
I know.
Their ratings aren't jumping. They lost all their title belts.
All of them.
New Japan's got their
Kenny
tag
has all
titles.
of them now.
Kenny's got all their world
He
champions.
does.
What are they actually getting from this?
It's
They-
interesting. Initially, the ratings
all of it.
Ratings.
had jumped and they dropped. They were up a little bit last week, but I don't know what their normal is. I'll be curious to see what they are tonight. But
AEW went down.
right, and I saw that. Yeah, NXT, AEW, everybody was down this week, but Smackdown and actually Impact, but Impact's ratings are so low.
If Raw goes back down any long further, it's going to be an AEW range.
That's pretty actually hilarious. How emasculating is it though? Like honestly, like I didn't watch Wrestling Territory Days, and you guys know more about that than I do. But I feel like it's kind of emasculating for Impact to deal or join this deal and then just lose all of the time.
This shit would never have happened back in the day. The promoters would have been too much ego. So I mean, on one hand, I do give Impact a little bit of credit. Like they know. Now the question is it going to work? Right? It doesn't appear to be like their ratings aren't, to quote Cameron Grimes, going to the moon, right? But that's the idea, is to get the rub off these guys. AEW does get better ratings; they're on a national thing. But the problem is access TV. All right, how many people get access TV? And if you listen to Jim Ross talk about in creative meetings in the old days with Vince McMahon and Bill Watts, one of the big things they always said is talent and TV. So you need the talent, but you also need the TV. And I think that's where Impact is really lacking the most, is being on access. I like the idea of companies working together, but
It's gotta be fair, though. It has to make sense, and just to have one guy or the same group of guys go in there and just destroy them.
I'll paint
Belts,
this picture for you. I don't know if it's going to happen, but Impact did tease some pictures with Samoa Joe. They did this last year too. They got some people, some they didn't.
Oh, Joe got big there. I used to watch it back when they were on Spike TV. I used to love TNA Impact.
I mean, imagine Omega, going into their main event.
That would help.
Slam and here's Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe beats him up, takes the title. That would be a huge thing, and we get people talking. But you got to get Joe signed, and you got to. So I'll give this time. But yeah, it's definitely. I'm sure they wish it took off more. I mean, at the same time, too, Impact has changed the days they're on multiple times. They had a couple recap shows right after they did this whole thing. So they haven't done each other any favors.
Oh
here
wow,
either,
I
too.
didn't know Naito was in that video too, Dave. Backley's saying that.
Oh, I didn't know. I knew Okada was. So wow.
I don't know
Okay,
who
so
these people are.
I
I
don't
feel like
either.
these are people I work with.
I don't know if you're working with Naito.
No, I feel like these are people that you were complaining about earlier.
Yeah, that might be more accurate. Yeah.
Hey, Naito, you fucked up the orange chicken. Where's the rice?
Now you're saying these weird names you work with.
Did you know that Christopher Daniels used to wrestle as Curry Man? He actually had a gimmick in Japan where he actually had a mask and it had like a rice on the top of his head. And he would come out and he would do this little dance, and he was just known as
I
Curry Man.
can't believe it didn't take off. That's crazy.
Right.
Took off enough and got him some TV days, but right, it never made him a huge
Now,
star.
I think this whole thing with Impact, I think they're waiting for the after the COVID time where they can pay off on this and go to Japan, go to AEW more. Right now, it's kind of sketchy because they're not getting much out of it. Their tag champs are on somebody else. Their heavyweight championship is on somebody else. They're not looking terribly strong in these interpromotional things.
They're losing all.
They are.
Weak.
But I mean, to be fair, they weren't in a point to really negotiate. Like, if you look at where
Right.
Impact is now versus where they were 4 years ago, they're lucky to be here. And I think it's just part of that long-term play. Build up some of those allegiances. Hopefully, when the time comes, they can get their talent over elsewhere.
That's a
And
deep point, but I do want to add to that, or I guess talk about that for a second. They are lucky to be there because they're on,
Sure.
they've been failing for years. But dude, we've been saying they're going to fail since 2010, and
Yeah.
here we are in 2021, and they're still here. So they're doing something to keep themselves going, and they are getting more limelight because of the AEW stuff. But they're looking, in my opinion, looking weaker still. So is it going to help them in the long run or make them look worse and give them more of a reason to not make it going forward when this deal eventually
I
runs
can wait till
out?
Tony Khan just buys Impact.
Well, that could happen.
That could happen.
I'm curious to see if other promotions are going to be involved in this. I mean, we've seen NWA kind of talent like Thunder Rosa get in there a little bit, and they've mentioned that title. I want to say Serena Deeb has the NWA title. She's AEW, but she got injured, so we haven't seen her. But so yeah, there's stuff that I think, and New Japan obviously has been in and out. They announced the match with Moxley's defending the IWP US title in a couple weeks. So there's different promotions that are working there, kind of. Impact's been the focal point, but I'd like to see if this is going to maybe go on with other promotions, because Impact kind of talked about this on a little preview for the Slammiversary or the Rebellion match they had. And it was just storyline, but it's kind of true. Like, promotions working together in the past never works out long term.
It does.
Ego gets in the way every fucking time.
And that makes sense too. But like I'm saying, like ego, you have to have. But we say ego, you have to defend yourself. Otherwise, you're like Impact, and you lose all of your titles.
Well,
But here's the most interesting thing about this, though. The storyline, real life, Don Callis and Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho are all legit friends. So Don is kind of working this deal, and that's unprecedented. So we'll see what happens.
So annoying. I can't stand that guy.
Well, that's kind of his job, though. He's supposed to be
I
an
know.
asshole.
Calls, I'm like, I want to hear Kenny Omega.
I like
not you.
but that's what they say.
Ugh.
I can't stand. They piss me off. Like, that's
But he
what they're
keeps
supposed to
talking.
fucking do. They're heels.
I'm like, cut his microphone.
I think the problem with it is that it's almost like he's behind the scenes, behind all of it.
Yeah.
Right.
To have it be so prominent on screen, it's like, all right, I can see you being on there. You can be annoying, but I think it's the amount of time he takes up.
I get that.
I mean, it's still good. Like,
I don't
he's
watch
getting exactly what he wants.
I don't watch AEW weekly, but I'll watch clips, and there'll be times where I'll legitimately like be cleaning the living room, so I'll put it on, just to have something on in the background. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be DVRing it. But we share like the same fucking cable app. So I keep it on there for her, so I'll put it on because there's some shit I like. Like I like Chris Jericho. Like I'll watch his segments all day, but Don Callis says the same fucking thing every week. He's out there. The collector, Kenny Omega, we're changing the world. Yeah, you changed the world so much, your rating jumped 0.1.
I know.
I mean, what did you change?
Honestly, guys, I can't stand Kenny Omega. He's not a guy I can get behind. I just can't
He's
stand
much
him.
better as a heel.
I
but-
like that's what I was thinking He's a good heel.
He just looks like a tall midget. That's weird. His body's tall.
Hot take.
His body doesn't look like it's a real body.
I gotta add that to my notes.
I'm gonna be judging the size of his head now.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of his
Be like,
head.
is that too good?
His face is too long for his body. Like it doesn't make
A
sense.
tall midget. Hold on.
He's got that hornswoggle head, huh?
He's got little legs. He's got a weird torso.
Got
He's
no
got
legs.
long,
What
square.
am I gonna do about my legs? Tell you, Omega.
His hair needs cut.
Well, that it does. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I never used to like him.
I don't like any Omega.
I like his heel.
Are you, guys,
overrated.
ready for our top 5?
I'm ready for the top 5.
You guys did this.
I almost forgot we had a top 5 still.
That happens here at RSH. We forget a lot of things.
We
Yeah.
forget a lot of things.
Speaking of forgotten,
Like prepper etiquette.
before we get there, check out all these great audio podcasts that people have forgot to do for the last 6 months.
All the amazing, awesome audio podcasts over at WhatTheBuzz.com. Be sure to check them all out.
And
Whether
yeah.
you're driving, whether you're walking, whether you're sitting, listen to them.
Make sure to pick the month of February.
Okay. So
That's when their last episodes were out.
We just have an okay for that.
all right, guys. Top 5 greatest promos in the history, or promoters, I guess.
I said
the history of
I didn't know how
wrestling.
to word it. It was a weird thing. Like top 5 promos sounds like we're picking specific promos.
That's
I
fair.
put talkers.
That would be.
And I like that, especially with working fans being here, because you guys, your show's about older wrestling.
Didn't you guys do
And,
one of these for promos before?
Sure. I'm sure we have. Yeah.
Where you guys are talking
We're
about.
just-
But it's funny, like, if you ask me, like, think about, like, stuff like this, like, top 5 greatest wrestlers or top 5 greatest men, I'm going to change sometimes depending on my days. Like, it's like I've seen so much good stuff. There's a core, but, like for promo guys, if we go back, like, I'm sure there's a couple that I have different now. Because, like, not to spoil, like, I just watched the Roddy Piper documentary, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I loved Roddy Piper back in the day. So,
Yeah.
Dude, even when I do my wrestling predictions, because I do different predictions as well, and they're different. It depends how I feel right now will be different in 3 hours. I get it.
It's hard to pick. It really
Keep
is.
doing it that way because he always wins at his other predictions and then loses.
Because I'm always drunk when I do this one. I'm sober when I do that one. So
You need to.
Who wants to go? So this started last week when somebody sitting at this table that does not have a vagina said that John would not cut a promo.
I stand by it. Same goddamn thing every week. Yeah. Eat your
And
vomit,
then-
say your prayers, do your
and
drunk leg.
then-
Oh, wait, that's somebody else.
Get off the air and he goes, yeah, you know, Rock, Cena, Punk. And I was
Yeah,
like,
there
you
you
can't
go.
talk shit about Cena and then drop him in your top 3. Oh, and spoiler, he's not in Ben's top or Chuck's top 5.
And it's
Fucking
not in
shocker.
mine either.
Out.
It's no spoiler there. I
All,
say it.
all 4 of you, not me, all 3 of you should be ashamed of yourselves.
You can't even do.
Wait, who's going first?
John Cena sucks. We all like Fast 9. We're
Who
all
the hell's
excited
going?
about it.
No, God damn it. No, we're
You
not.
want me to go? I'll go.
Stop it.
Yvonne will go first.
No
Okay,
more.
go.
No more Fast and Furious movies. Just stop.
No, John Cena's in it, though.
I mean, Paul Walker's already dead. Let's not make him
Let's
second.
not have
he's
a
the
rerun
best-
of last.
He's rolling over in his
Oh my
grave
God.
right now.
Oh, man. It's
We're gonna
it.
turn the roll with the
All right,
rewind
Yvonne, top
show.
5 greatest promoists of all time.
Oh boy. This is
5.
5.
I was so proud of her number 5.
Hey, I thought I took effort. I think
All
Paul
right.
Heyman. You know, Paul Heyman's not a wrestler, but when he is on the mic, when he's speaking for Roman or for Brock, Paul Heyman has very powerful words, which really hits a lot of superstars. And actually, I've seen, paying attention, he changes a lot of people, like Apollo, talking smack. He said something tomorrow, got him. He gets the fire going in people. So Paul Heyman does, and he actually makes effect on him. And he's honest, and he doesn't care who he hurts. He don't care
Excellent.
when he's able to be spoken to or in an interview.
I was very happy she picked Paul Heyman.
Hey,
I was ready for
I
like
told you.
Brie Bella, Nikki Bella,
I don't put stupid stuff
Victoria,
like
Molly Holly, and Charlotte.
It's hard to argue, Paul Heyman's ability to talk a microphone.
Mhm.
It's one of the
Hard.
best of all time.
Tremendous. You go back to early days of like Like you look up some old WCW stuff. He had the Dangerous Alliance, and
yes.
Paul Heyman was the mouthpiece for like Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Iron Anderson, guys that could talk, and Paul could lead that. And you look what he does for guys like Brock Lesnar, who doesn't want to talk. He's just tremendous. He's one of the absolute best. I want to say there's a thing if you look up on YouTube, it's like Paul Heyman cuts a promo on Vince McMahon, and it's leading towards this evasion angle. It's just absolutely one of the best.
Watch that.
So he talks about Vince's dad, and the story behind it, I saw like he mentioned somewhere else, was all Vince told him was, "Go make me some money." And Paul said, "You sure I can say whatever you want about you?" He said, "Make me some money."
Hell
and
yeah.
Paul went on him, and he blasted him, and Vince took it until the end. I think they had Taz or someone choke him out, but it was,
Paul Heyman gets to the facts and only the facts. That's what Paul Heyman does.
Well,
he's great on talking. He's great on talking. Fantastic on talking smack too.
And he's not afraid to hurt your feelings. He's just speaking the truth, and it actually does help some
like
people.
Godsmack.
It does.
I mean, he came up in Memphis. Look at what he did in ECW, where he got those guys to work for no money for so long, promising them that money was on the way. And his father's a lawyer, so I think words are important to him, and the way like sentences are structured and what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Good number 5. Who's number 4?
Punk. Punk, when he
Truth bomb.
Punk, CM Punk never stayed on the script. We all know that. He always went off pipe bombs. Actually, he's had his microphone cut off a few times. And I was back in that day a CM Punk fan. I think I have more of his shirts than anybody else's.
Who not a CM Punk fan?
I loved his promos because he always got off script. I mean, like I said, Punk didn't care who he hurt. He just did whatever. Ticked Vince off. They're like, stay on script. Pipe bomb. Cut his mic off. And then he gets on commentary, runs his mouth.
He was
screaming. And he was on commentary.
I don't like your 4 and number 3. I think they suck.
Wow.
Who's number 3?
The Rock.
Fucking
Rock.
Why? What can The Rock not do on the microphone?
Facts.
I mean,
wake me up when you need me to click the band.
Dude, you shut up. He said Poo-Tang on camera every week. And you're going to say that's not fucking hilarious? When you were 12 years old, you thought that was the best thing ever. It's when you say you don't like The Rock, it seems like Nickelback because it's the cool thing to do on Facebook these days. Everybody loved The Rock in the late 90s. Say you did it is nonsense.
Every time The Rock held the microphone, I was always excited. What's he going to say next? Who's he going to take?
What's he going to say? He's going to say, if you smell.
No.
He was on the first Smackdown and he drew ratings. Like they bring him back just to do a promo, and that promo is what.
We don't have time for facts.
He's right, but he's not John Cena. He don't say 4 words. The Rock changes
John
that
Cena
up. That's
alone.
why he's The Rock.
Dude, The Rock. John Cena's promos were just like The Rock's, just not funny. He said the same things over and over again without the middle part that was funny.
But The Rock made it.
Yeah, he was like White Rock.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think Cena's a good promo. I think Cena. They stuck him. I think The Rock is really good. Actually, he's on my list. And there's a reason. I think Rock did such a good job that unfortunately they forced John Cena for a little while to try to be The Rock.
Sure.
He tried to be that funny Rock. And John doesn't have to be The Rock. When The Rock came back, there's a couple moments where John schooled him on some promos. And I was like, holy shit. But John doesn't make my list, even though he's good, because The Rock's overall work to me is so good.
I was going to hold on Cena because he's on my list. Because I have some fucking respect for legends in this fucking room.
Wait, what legend?
In this little room we're in on StreamYard, I'm the only one that has some respect
Ignore
for
the
the
fact he
greatest
follows you on
performer
Twitter.
of all time.
I think they do it with Roman too, though, for a little while until Roman started doing his own thing. Like I think The Rock was so funny and so good. There's never been somebody that funny that they're constantly still trying to get that guy, and they don't have that guy. No one else is doing that guy in wrestling,
and they won't let him give him. They won't give him the opportunity to do it. You know what I mean? Like the guys that they give opportunities to, they're not funny like The Rock. You know, CM Punk can't talk like The Rock.
Nope.
Bray Wyatt can't talk like The Rock. John Cena can't talk like The Rock. You know who could probably though? Kevin Owens could probably talk like The Rock if you give him the opportunity to.
Yeah, look at what he did before WrestleMania. He was one of the better off-the-cuff promos during that rain delay.
Yep.
KO's probably their most underutilized. Not underutilized ain't the right word.
Underappreciated?
He shouldn't be on SmackDown. they shouldn't have fed like the whole Roman thing where they just had him lose with like that's a whole different topic.
Kevin Owens could be their next guy after John Cena.
He's not lost. I think him and Sammy's going to team. I think him and Sammy's going to end up teaming. It's going to be fantastic.
He's not lost at all, but he's not going to reach.
He's
the
a
potential.
fucking superstar. He should be a superstar.
Right.
When he came out of NXT, and who put him over? John fucking Cena. But anyway, he's a fucking star right out of the gate. He beat John Cena right away. That's what John Cena did.
Sure.
Anyway.
I'm just curious.
Exactly.
Go to number 2.
That's why he's not
Number 2.
The Miz, the A-lister. Everybody knows the Miz can pull a great promo, great talker. Like our dad just said the other day, every time you see Miz, he never shuts up on the microphone. He's that good.
Miz is a great talker. You're absolutely correct.
On Miz TV, either his gimmicks with Morrison.
Correct.
Anything. The Miz can pull it off. I mean, absolutely.
Is this just an Ohio vote?
No, that's fair.
No, the Miz is a good talker, but every time I see him, I'm like, I don't want to be watching this shit. Like,
You know what's funny?
I can appreciate that what he's doing is good, but it's not for me.
I don't know.
I got hey hip hop on my phone.
But John Cena actually, I saw this yesterday. I think on Twitter, John Cena put the Miz's new shit over. Like,
yeah, John Cena said he was like the hardest worker he'd ever seen. I mean, the dude wasn't.
I believe Miz is a hard worker. I also think Miz is actually one of the better guys when it comes to
look at his wife. Of course, he's a hard worker.
I think Miz is one of those guys like he's really good at being scripted. Now, I'm not saying he couldn't cut off the cuff. He's never been probably done that too much. But I think he's one of the better guys at being scripted. I wouldn't put him on my top promo list, but I can see where somebody likes his stuff. And I think he's better at, like, if you hand someone else a script, they might be like, don't know how to make it their own. I think he knows how to make it his own and, make that character.
Talking smack, he did go off the cuff against Daniel Bryan. And
he was fucking fantastic with that, yes. Yeah. Props to him, yes.
Like everything.
Talking smack got some legit shit.
Yeah.
That's fair. They have to get more opportunity there.
Pretty heat from that, yeah.
There's no script. It's just straight shoot.
Yeah, but I agree with that for sure. That's some good points with the Miz. He does really well at just saying Miz things.
Whatever they give him, yeah.
Everything he says, you believe. No matter, like, hey, hop, stupidest shit ever, right? But, like, he made it entertaining. He takes whatever shit they give him on script, and he's like, all right, this is going to be good. If you watch his Marine movies, no, but I'm sure they're fine because he's probably busted his ass and made them okay.
I saw the first Marine, and it was terrible.
Yeah, why? Because Cena was in it?
No, because the movie was terrible.
You're fucking racist.
We've all seen Die Hard.
Wrestling to Raw for a shit.
That pisses me off. Now Die Hard. Well, it's not fucking Christmas, so put that away.
This was the joy of
all right, who's your number 1?
Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Gimmick, Chris Jericho, every time he had a microphone, gimmick or not.
Didn't he just slay MJF last night?
Point exactly. I wear a Chris Jericho shirt right now.
I was watching something on Twitter. Didn't they do like a stare down last time in AEW?
He ate him, like, he killed it, as always. What can Chris Jericho not do with the microphone? He kills everything off with the microphone. Gimmick or not, from Listed Jericho to... I was watching last night a gimmick with the New Day. He called them trap queens, stupid idiot.
Trap queens.
He called the people in the back, monkeys in the truck. I mean, it's just Chris Jericho's this.
Dude, she played a clip for me from AEW from a few weeks ago when we were coming here where he looked at Sean Spears. He goes, Sean Spears, all I've heard is about all your potential. I've never fucking seen it.
She said fucking.
Then he had the nerve to ask Guevara last night.
Dude, I'm so sick of Sean Spears. Different subject.
I called him perfect loser on this show, actually.
Nice.
He's got Peyton Royce. He's not a loser.
Wrestling, he is.
Yeah, he is. Unfortunately, he's just not going to be gas going to get him. So he can't.
But he has the nerve to question Guevara.
Jericho last night, he said, "You something along the lines of." You got lost in the shuffle in WWE. Then you got here, rode Cody's coattails for a minute. Now you're lost in the shuffle here. When are you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's terrible because he's literally the guy in that group that's going to take.
And MJF praises him like he's the guy. Bull crap.
That whole Pinnacle thing built for MJF. Pinnacle. MJF, Wardlow, The Revival, Tully Blanchard, and Sean Spears.
I thought Wardlow was part of the Dark Order. Clearly, I don't know.
But yeah, that's my.
Let's let the working. Let's get some older stuff going on. So what we got? Let's go with producer Joe. Top 5 promos.
All right, Joe. Hold on. Let me find your list. There we go. Bam. 5.
Okay. Jake Roberts. I don't think you can deny this guy would creep you out with his promos. Everything he said, he believed. He really innovated the not talking loudly to make people listen. And in a way, I almost think that makes what he's saying creepier.
I agree.
Yeah.
And he was like creepy before The Undertaker creepy. Like he was kind of like the starter of the creepy monotone. In that fucking snake. You can't argue that snake. That's just scary in itself. But
I like the snake.
Yeah, and he's going to be one of the features on Dark Side of the Ring this year, so you're going to find out where he draws that creepiness from.
I think Stone Cold's going to be a part of that, from what I understand.
That'd be cool.
I'm mistaken. That's just Bill. Never mind. I'm wrong. Anyway.
I mean, it was that whole moment. Austin 316. It was because of his match with Jake. Because Jake had at
When
that
Jake
time
was coming off the crack and going to the religion.
he was going to the religion, but he really probably hadn't gone all the way to the religion yet. He still has some crack in his system, as we found out. But
person has a little crack in their systems.
yeah, and so I mean that's the whole thing with Austin. I remember, Austin 316 will whoop your ass, and I mean Jake, I agree. I mean I remember
Apparently the 12 steps will whip his ass too. He's made it up like 8 of them and fallen back down each time.
Poor Jake. Yeah, man, he was a great promo though. You're not wrong. I remember his stuff, and he was kind of maniacal, right?
Yeah,
like is that the right word to use?
Never trust a snake. That was his thing. Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was Austin's moment of Jake.
Kicked it off, yeah.
Number 4.
MJF. There's not too many people that commit to being a heel this fully. And for him to be so young and be that good on the mic, where's he going to be when he's Jericho's age?
Absolutely.
And look at the people he's learning under now. He's got Tully Blanchard there. He's got Jericho.
He's
Lots of other people that he can work with and learn from. And I think he's only going to get better as time goes on.
Student of the game. I want to say I don't know. I think Joe was there too. We went to an independent wrestling show a few years ago. MJF was there, and there was this guy dressed up in this La Parka mask. It was a Halloween show. There's independent with like a Halloween show. They got a lot of top independent out there. And this guy's kind of annoying throughout the whole time, and some people are liking him, but I'm sitting next to him. I'm like, fuck this guy. And so at one point he's saying something to MJF who's selling. He's down on that. This is what I think of like when I say like fearless heel, because like you probably shouldn't touch fans. MJF pie faces this guy off the side. I roar in laughter. He's my number one baby face at this point. If you look at like in AEW, like I saw him like pop it, like he threw a drink in a fan's face, and like he flipped over his beer on him. I saw a thing when he was in MLW, like the Von Erichs, who are legendary down there, with their kids are wrestling, and they were in Texas, and he's talking about the Von Erich curse, and he says, "Don't do the Von Erich thing." I'm like, this guy does not care what he says.
Early 20s doing that shit.
Yeah.
Like, that is some balls. Yeah.
I'm telling you, he'll be in WWE in 5 years.
Facts.
He will,
He won me over 2 times. One, when he was on Stone Cold's podcast and stayed in character. That was fun.
Yes.
And then 2, when he flipped off a little kid at an autograph signing.
Yes.
That's
Hey, how about that thing he did to the kid in the wheelchair a couple of years
I
ago?
know you heard that. Yeah. The kid's in the wheelchair. He said, "How's the kid said, how are you? Or how are you doing?" or something like that. MJF's like, "Better than you."
And he's dedicated to it. And he sticks to it. That's why you gotta like respect.
Randy Osgood showing out.
Woo.
Yeah, man, Joe and Dave are the best. They are the best. Absolutely.
Hey.
I love Joe and Dave.
Number 3 is going to make Tyler Peters smile.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Now, Jim Cornette, I would say it's the flip side of Yvonne's Paul Heyman pick, because Jim Cornette is just a Southern Paul Heyman.
Fact.
Both really good with words. They've just got perspectives of different areas. Paul Heyman being from the North New York area, Cornette from the South. Cornette also not afraid to say much. It's gotten him kicked off TV. And even if it didn't get him kicked off, he probably wouldn't be afraid to leave and tell them to get fucked on the way out.
His Twitter game.
There's a reason his podcast is popular, and it's popular with people that agree and don't agree with him, just because just him on the mic is money.
They want to hear
Both Cornette and Heyman started off as wrestling photographers as kids too.
Oh, fair enough. I
Yeah.
know.
I didn't know.
That's cool. I listened to Paul Heyman's story of like, I remember I heard where I heard it, but he was talking about how he just kind of went into a building and he went into a meeting with Dusty Rhodes, and he was just talking, and Paul Heyman just went, he's like 15 years old, went and sat down, and Rhodes is like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Paul Heyman." All right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there was something too where I think Dusty asked him, like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm learning for you. And he's like, and Dusty's just like, well, you're learning from the best, baby. Now sit down.
What? Yeah, it's the same way. People want to hear his speech, whether they hate it or love it.
Yeah.
They love to hate it,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fun follow on Twitter. He was
I've-
destroying Rusev the other weeks ago.
Oh,
Don't get into it with Cornette on Twitter. That will not work out for you. He's good at Twitter.
Now ain't Rusev.
All right.
he's good
So
at
let's
Twitter.
segue to Joe's number 2, who probably doesn't know what Twitter is at this point in his life, but he does know what alcohol and drugs are.
Oh, me too.
Woo!
Ric Flair, it's arguable he could be number 1 depending on the day, but this guy is a talker. I mean, if you look at No Context Ric Flair on Facebook,
No
this
comment.
guy has enough good talking.
Oh my God.
He put up his speeches and memes, and it's hilarious. I mean, back in the day, you could believe anything he'd say in the ring, and if you were his wife, I don't know if I would believe you.
Which one? Which wife?
Dude,
Any of them. I mean, to Josh's point, I think there's a reason Charlotte might have ended up the way she has.
that,
That kind of shit happens when you don't know your dad too well.
that,
Joe, he loves his son.
that no context Ric Flair thing he's telling you about.
I was talking about
Oh,
Charlotte.
that stuff is so brilliant.
The thing with Ric Flair, I think I said on this year, so I'll repeat the joke. The thing with Ric Flair is he is proof that all you need to live forever is Viagra, cocaine. Well, whatever he drinks, whiskey,
And
probably.
he's older. It's disgusting.
Mhm.
God.
I mean, I joke about Ric Flair, but all time one of my favorites.
Sure.
The guy is a legend. Just the battles that him and Dusty Rhodes had on the mic.
Mhm.
I don't know if their mic battle is better or their in-ring battles are better. That's how close it is.
Sure.
And
Yeah, man. The thing with
I was
Rick
gonna
is
say, not to give away my number 1, but Dusty's my number 1, and
Bullet of Woods,
not
baby.
for too long, but I mean, they're just kind of flip sides of the coin.
Right.
Ric Flair got big because he had Dusty Rhodes to battle against.
Mhm.
Dusty Rhodes, same thing. He had Ric Flair to play off of.
dude, that Hard Times promo is something that
Yeah.
cannot be forgotten.
Right.
Hands down, the best promo of all time.
And I think the important thing with Dusty is he reached out to the people, where Ric Flair was almost like modern day rap, where he was just bragging. He was just that guy that you couldn't be. Almost like what MJF is striving to be right now.
Mhm.
But the thing with MJF is he's more articulate. Ric Flair would just say
Okay.
things. Like MJF is
Oh, yeah.
intelligent.
MJF's a little bit of Rowdy Piper, I think.
Yeah, I
Too.
would
He's a little
agree with
Piper Flair. Yeah, he's
Right.
bro. A
Edgy.
little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Ric Flair named his dick on TV, so I mean,
Well, that's Edge.
that's kind of the wildness you get from him.
That's a good point. I didn't know that.
Ric Flair went on the 80s, like he was on TV when nobody talked behind the business. He said in a promo in front of Dusty, he said, and in front of 70,000 people, I don't do no jobs. And then Dusty came back out of promo, I don't do no jobs either, so where we at? It's like,
Ty?
yeah.
It's disgusting. Just
No
hearing- just
count-outs?
hearing
I
that's
don't know.
gross. I can see why he's had
Oh,
many
man.
wives that he had.
who's next?
Goldberg?
No,
Gilbert.
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
I'll go next. Let's do it. I ain't scared.
please.
Now we're cursed because of that.
All right, here we go. 5.
Dude, the game,
Mhm.
Triple H.
Yep.
And here's why I hate the game, Triple H. And you're all going to disagree. They were long, they were drawn out, they were,
Mhm.
but they made you hate him. And when he's on TV, you're watching. At least in my case, I was watching.
Absolutely.
Triple H was on there, kind of like what we talked about earlier with Jim Cornette. I want to hate what he says, And when I was in 6th grade and Triple H was beating the shit out of Stone Cold and The Rock, that's what I was watching. Triple H talk massive shit, even though he cheated the entire time. He talked like he wasn't cheating. And, it made you watch. So Triple H, and he will say, "Hey, what I'm doing right now." He'll just keep talking, but not really say anything. And in my opinion, is it's good promo skills because you have to say a lot of things in a small amount of time sometimes, and that's what he does.
Right.
I think he's a good promo, but when he said it, for some reason, I keep thinking about The Rock making fun of him, where he would do that thing, and I'm the game. I'm out in the jug. Like he did this whole
I got
thing.
a 2-hour slut for a wife.
Yeah.
The Rock's the best.
Got to be a good talker if he talked his way into Mary and Stephanie and getting into.
Yeah, he knew how to sell. You convinced Vince.
Oh yeah, man. Triple H is just a good heel. And Bret Hart likes to talk shit about him. I like to talk shit about him, but he's a good heel.
He is.
What else we got? Number 4. You're looking at fucking Iron Man. What the fuck?
No, he died.
You wait about wasting my
No,
time
so
watching that.
the Young Bucks apparently were wearing like that leather black jacket with the fur that Seth wears. So he put on Twitter with a picture side by side with the Young Bucks, says, "Congratulations to my jacket on its successful trip through the forbidden door. #embrace division. #ringleader."
Seth Rollins that Jericho spot. I honestly thought that was Aquaman though when I looked over there.
Aquaman.
I know, but I was thinking Aquaman.
Wasted time
Words
to
are
watch
hard.
that movie.
No one from that angle. It's fine.
I love Iron Man. He died. Okay.
All right, Mick Foley.
Mick Foley. Come on, guys. Nobody mentions Mick Foley. Like that dude, he will get a crowd going wherever he's at.
What is sock?
And same thing when I was a kid. One of the first promos I saw was from Mick Foley. I don't remember what year it was, but it was an old school Mick Foley promo. He's the everyday man. He's not. There's no muscles. There's missing teeth. There's shaggy ass hair, but he still is making you care about him with his passion of whatever it is that he's saying. So I think Mick Foley and his comeback as GM was rough, but back when he had, he could express himself without being, created over or whatever. It was good, and I think Mick Foley is underappreciated as a promo artist.
I agree. I didn't have him on my list, but I wish I did. That's a good one. He his stuff with Jim Ross and those sit down interviews as Mankind manager, I think are some of the best stuff ever. And if you happen to check out his old ECW interviews, he does this whole thing about anti-hardcore and going into school and they were like offering him drugs, and he's like, he's talking about these, but he turned it all into like wrestling though. Like he's talking about these fall out his command and he's like, "I don't need your drugs." It was like so good though.
It's kind of like how you mentioned, Joe mentioned earlier with Roberts. It's the same thing. He believed what he was saying, and you believe that he believes what he's saying, and that therefore you believe what he's saying. It's like, man, that guy you don't fuck with.
No, you don't.
So that's why Mick Foley is a guy I'll just never forget when it comes to his. I think he's underappreciated a little bit in all of his ring work.
Absolutely, I do too.
Yeah, big fan.
3.
And we've already talked about CM Punk.
How could you not have him?
And I think CM Punk too. People kind of forget that they say, "Well, he did the pipe bomb and that was awesome, so now we all love CM Punk." Fact. But even before that, when he was still one of the how did he word it? One of the pegs in the wheels. He was still doing phenomenal promos before that promo.
Right.
He would still do and say things. It's just like, man, this guy. Then he became an announcer, and then this guy, he was funny. He can talk. He can articulate, and you like him or hate him, you believe what he's saying. And it's like, man, this guy's kind of like Eminem. I always kind of saw him as the Eminem of WWE. You know what I mean? Like straight edge, bullshit pass.
Eminem's not straight.
I like the John Cena freestyles, but CM Punk's the Eminem of WWE.
Right. Because John Cena's a fucking poser from Massachusetts. Anyway.
It didn't matter with Punk. Like I forgot to say, he was in straight edge society.
Sure.
He destroyed the Nexus.
He was the lead. Yeah, he was the leader.
Well, second leader. But he was good on the mic, and I loved his announcing when he was injured. That was great. And then obviously the pipe bomb was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
You have to be a good talker if when you're injured, you can go to something like a commentary and use your mic skills.
Sure.
Right.
Rather than just be off TV.
Absolutely. That was good.
He talked himself into stardom. I mean, he was legit going to end up leaving, and Vince just say what you want. And they weren't really expecting much out of that. and Punk ended up getting signed, got the belt, and they had another couple years run out of him.
And I think like he actually earned John Cena's respect in that same time frame for those same reasons, you know. So
Yeah, he did, yeah.
that's a big deal for CM Punk that he's actually able to use his ability to talk to stay relevant. Not everybody has the ability or opportunity to do that. CM Punk did and took it. So you can't argue CM Punk's mic skills, in my humble opinion. And of course, we mentioned Chris Jericho as well. Same thing. One of the biggest disappointments, though, in my watching WWE was their WrestleMania feud. Man, opportunity. Both great talkers, both good in the ring. But man, their mic skills are equal to like Jericho and Rock. And Jericho twice. And you know, they went with that alcohol bullshit. I'm in a bar or a Jack Daniels bottle. That feud was terrible. But man, I remember being so hyped for that feud. But Jericho's another one we talked already with on your list.
I loved his match against Fandango.
That was good. Right. I will never forget his feud with Stephanie McMahon. Hilarious. You know, he'd be out there. Remember? You guys remember when he was out there with The Rock? Man, he's this
like
good.
His debut itself.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like, this is where I'll disagree with you about Punk. I think Punk's the most overrated. Like, I think the pipe bomb is why
don't know what you're talking
everybody
about.
loves him so much. And it is. But if you look at his past promo, he's not really. All he does is bitch about stuff that people bitch on Twitter on TV.
No, but he did that before Twitter.
My
was big.
spot sucks. This program sucks. Yeah, but you're there every week doing live events and making millions of dollars.
But you say that, but then he quit, and you're still saying, well, you quit. So you can't have it both ways.
I don't care that he quit. I don't want him to come back.
He believes what he said and went with it. Anyway.
You can't say, I don't give a fuck that he's gone. He went to UFC. You guys remember how that went. I was at Chuck's house. Chuck was putting together the cups for beer pong. He was like, keep me updated on the match. I hit refresh. It says CM Punk loses. 12 minutes. I said it's over. He couldn't even fucking set up the beer pong table yet. That's what CM Punk is.
Mike's skills and UFC abilities are two way different
I didn't
things.
compare him. I'm just
I want to say something about Jericho, though, because Jericho was very funny, but he also had that run where he was feuding with Shawn Michaels years later, and he came back dressed as a suit. He had a suit on, and he was talking. He did the same thing, like he was talking very quietly and very arrogantly. So I think the thing about Jericho too, with his promos, he's got great range.
Sure, so, he's able to
his delivery,
and he'll tell you he'll change his character and adapt at the drop of a dime. Like Jericho is the most adaptable, like Catwoman, adaptable motherfucker ever.
He is. He has a microphone. You're in trouble.
Dude, he created a feud with Goldberg with no outcome. He just did it.
He did.
And then that "Where's the Ring" shit's hilarious. And he's
his 1,000 holds.
Yeah, that's
he goes to commercial. He comes back. He's still armbar.
Dude, Jericho,
armbar.
And I'll never forget his run with The Rock when they were talking shit to Stephanie. I remember watching that live, and I just remember thinking that was the funniest thing. Girl, now I was like 12, but I thought it was the most funny thing. And I still remember it how many years later. Jericho just won that. If he's got a microphone in his hand, I'm watching, unless it's on AEW, because I just don't watch that. But that's besides the point.
He's doing great on AEW.
So does anybody want to guess what his number one is?
Fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
dude, and here's the deal with The Rock. You can sit here and you can be cool and should talk The Rock in 2021 because he's in the Fast and the Furious movies. And
no, he's not. He got booted for John Cena like he does in everything else in his life.
He spinned off and created his own franchise from that franchise. But anyway.
Fucking Tooth Fairy 2.
Tooth Fairy 2.
Yeah, is that his new franchise? I Found Your Teeth Again.
That was a cute movie.
Listen,
shut up. Nobody called the Tooth Fairy cute.
Found Your Teeth Again.
You know that Charlotte's going to be in the new Walking Tall. They had to get a real man to do the movie.
She's the guest of honor, I heard.
Thing with The Rock. The Rock.
Okay.
Oh, God, I'm losing it.
Oh, shit.
Are we good?
No, we're not.
Pepperoni beating pie.
I killed Joe with that.
Fine. The Rock. Dude, The Rock was so huge in 1998, 1999. And yeah, he did his If You Smell. That was kind of boring. Took 10 minutes. But the shit he said in between, he said Poo-Tang. He talked about eating pussy and getting his dick sucked on live
I remember
television.
that.
What's doing that
Weekly.
hour 25 where you just start?
You mean we weren't talking about baked goods? What the fuck? I was so confused.
I'm just saying. He did that earlier. We were talking about how he made fun of others. In my opinion, the
I
greatest.
like how this is RSH After Dark now. It's been an hour 20, and then it's like anything.
RSH Underground.
Dude.
RSH Underground.
Dude, his shit was Coach.
Yeah, he made fun of
His
the
shit with Coach
too.
was
Yeah.
Dude, the Coach was like his most epic. Him and Michael
Michael Cole. Yeah, that shit was
Michael
fun.
Cole. And he's like kick him to the ground.
And that it doesn't matter. Shit.
Don't look at the rock strudel while you're down there.
See, that shit's
Yeah.
funny.
He has good delivery.
Sure. That's how you do promos. That's
Exactly.
the point
I
of a
I
promo.
understand it.
So, and then
Obviously, you do.
and
Shut the hell up.
the greatest
You
promo
know.
of all time was Hell in a Cell. I think it was right before Hell in a Cell of the year 2000. I think it was 2000. I could be making stuff up. But he made fun. Remember the 6-man Hell in a Cell match with Rikishi,
I was
Kurt
gonna say,
Angle,
the one where
Stone
Rikishi
Cold,
got
Triple
thrown
H,
off of
Rock,
it.
and Undertaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And The Rock went down and made fun of all 5 of those fools in one promo. And it was hilarious. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. And like he could make fun of people, and then he would just say the same catchphrase over and over,
Mhm.
but people still laughed at the "it doesn't matter" bullshit. He even made people laugh to a computer, which is ridiculous in like 2011.
Yeah.
But so The Rock, arguably one of the big reasons that WCW lost the Monday Night Wars, and that's not because of his in-ring work. And ring work, he could do
He's
stuff,
okay.
but.
Yeah, he's a promo guy.
When it comes to entertainment, when it comes to being on screen and people want to watch what he's going to say, granted, half of it's been repeated, still, you want to see the middle part where it's going to be new. And that's what The Rock is. And that's why The Rock will always be, even though his tenure is pretty short compared to everybody else, still one of the most electrifying
I was just about to
of
say
all time.
electrifying. I was just about to say it.
Like his career's short. He won 95 to 2002, and then he came back a few times after that. But
Him and Stone Cold both had great runs, but it didn't really last that long. But it was so crazy.
There's like 6 years.
yeah,
maybe.
it's short,
Wow, it
short.
was.
And then you have John
Yeah.
Cena, who's been around since 02 to 16. Yeah, and everybody else, and Triple H, fucking forever. But also two
Hogan. Yeah.
of the 4 big ones. Well, I guess Hogan too.
Fucking Taker.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He signed till he's 80. I'm convinced to be at WrestleMania 52.
Right.
Yeah, just, I mean, for that short amount of time before the internet, Rock took off because of his ability to speak on camera. And you can't. That's so. When it comes to promo skills, his career is promo. That's it. There's no 5-star match in The Rock's career. Promo and video packages, because there's great video packages too. That's all I got.
All right, Dave.
Oh yeah, that's all.
Now
it
it's
is.
you.
I'm ready.
Get that Rock shit off here.
I'm on my last beer.
Number 5.
Terry Funk, old school. Terry's another quiet talker. He made things very believable. Terry Funk would come out in his voice, and you talk about this show going off the rails. I remember Terry Funk at WWE had a shotgun Saturday night, and they were on location in these clubs, and they did the show for a little while, and they were in a bar or something, and they had a wrestling ring in it, and Terry Funk calls out Steve Austin, and he's like, "Come on, Austin, your mother's a whore." And I'm watching this, and I'm like, what the hell? It's like Terry Funk just doesn't care. He would say crazy things.
That's funny.
He tells a story about his dad having to put down his pet jackass. He had to put it down. He's like, "I love that jackass." And he said, "But just like Ric Flair, we had to put it out of its misery." It's it was just these great lines, but he was so also he could be funny, but he could also be very this guy's crazy. You don't really know what he's going to do. And
Sure.
I actually read something in his book. Him and Jerry Law both talk about this. And the art of the great making money with a promo is to, you got to fool the audience. And it's you take something that you think they're saying that you're not supposed to be hearing. You make something a little personal. He might have done this with Dusty, where maybe he'll mention something that nobody else would, and now you got him hooked. Wait, he's not supposed to talk about that. And Terry would do that. And that was the art of a great promo.
Did he call Dusty Virgil one time?
I think the one you're talking about, he might have. But I remember Gary Hart was his
No,
manager.
yeah, it was very hard.
Yeah, and they said they called him off there, and they're like, Virgil, we're gonna hurt you. And Dusty was pissed because he didn't want his real name on there. He's like, tell Gary, don't call me Virgil no more on TV.
On TV. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, Terry Funk is a crazy dude. I remember watching. He's a partner with like Mick Foley a lot, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Chainsaw Charlie.
Yep.
Did that, yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait for number 4.
Number 4, baby. What we got here? The Rock, the People's Champ.
People's champ.
Let me tell you, I'll just throw a couple quick my favorite Rock promos. I think he is very funny. I remember when Kane was coming out and like he couldn't talk right. He's like, Kane comes out there and he's like, let me. Like nobody did that shit, you know?
The big red forward.
Oh yeah, he did. He said, and well, I mean, this is the quote, folks. We're not saying you should say this, but he said, "You're looking at the Rock like you're part retard." Or something. It's like nobody said that, but Rock did. And then he talked about Big Show. He would go places you didn't think he'd go, like Big Show. You come out here and you do the most impressive thing, and you go, the Big Show. It was so good. And then like I remember specifically when the NWO got to WWE, and you talk about saying things you don't think you're going to say. Here comes Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, and nobody talked about their back in the day, but Rock did. He says, "Oh, look at here, Diesel, Big Daddy Bitch, Chico, Razor Ramon," and nobody did stuff like that. His comedy was so good. I think if anything, he ruined it for everybody else because they're trying to duplicate that to this day.
Oh,
and it can't be done. He's one of a kind.
Absolutely.
Sure
remember watching him making fun of like Bubba Ray Dudley, that stutter shit. He was starting.
Oh yeah,
and like he just did that.
The Rock did, yeah.
But for Josh's sake, we can move on to my number 3. I'm ready to go.
You'll drink it. You'll drink it eventually.
Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper, mostly for his heel run with Hogan. Like he kind of kicked off WrestleMania. I mean, kicking Cyndi Lauper in the face. Like that's a real sentence.
We all wanted to do that,
He's just so good. Like talking about Mr. T and saying borderline racist stuff back in the day, but
not borderline.
It was pretty racist. Yeah, he said something about like I don't know why you wear all these chains. I thought we were trying to get people out of that or something. Like crazy stuff that. But this was back in the 80s, and Piper would push that envelope, and he didn't care, and he'd make fun of Hogan's hairline. Like, nobody talked about Hogan's hairline back then. Rowdy did, because he wanted to draw money, and he wanted to make you think that, hey, this isn't supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
That's number 3, baby.
Woo!
Kiss stealing. Limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun. Yeah. Living his gimmick. You believe Ric Flair when he comes out because he was that guy. I remember he told a story that he basically gave out his hotel number and told any of the girls that he want to find where they rank in womanhood to come see him. And his wife was like, "What's that about?" "Oh, that's nothing. That's just TV talk." It wasn't TV talk.
Very funny.
He gave his hotel room number out a lot.
A lot, yeah. You want to be down at the Marriott in Baltimore.
I have to say this out loud because
to the airport.
Now, we're all adult men, and we don't have that kind of power. But if we did, is that a smart thing to do? Because I feel like I'd probably utilize that if I could. You know what I mean?
Flair did.
And look what got his marriages.
And a divorce, and an awesome daughter, and a lot of money.
See, you don't give out a hotel room because then people know where to come find you, like angry spouses, if you do it on TV.
Well, you
do it at the meet and greet in line, and then you go, "No, that ain't my
These
hotel.
guys,
I don't know what this is."
You're not making money and getting famous in the lines. You're making money and getting famous on the TV.
That's true.
Different time period,
I'll be
too.
worried about my personal safety. You're not going to come.
Ric Flair wasn't worried about his personal safety.
He would hire somebody. He would hire.
Yeah, I remember hearing a story once though, like back in that day, like Ricky Steamboat, and this was before like they were going after the title, like early days. Him and Flair were feuding in some territory, and he saw Flair at a gas station, and like Flair was talking to people. Flair was the heel, and Steamboat ran up to him and said, "You ever pull that again, I'm gonna kill you. You understand?" And Flair called him back. "We got heat? Nah, it's just putting on a show for the people that were there." I thought that's so cool. Nobody does that now.
That is cool. That's so cool. And now you could do that on like Twitter, but they still, for whatever reason, they do sometimes, but it's not that aggressive. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So spoiler, me and Joe had the same 2-1 here.
Sure did.
So, I'm gonna tell a story real quick, and I'll wrap this up. So I'm like probably 12, 13 years old. Even before that, when I first saw Dusty Rhodes, I'm a young kid, but my first territory I watched was WWF at the time. And I see Hulk Hogan, I see all these muscles. I see Dusty Rhodes. I'm like, I'm a kid. I don't know any better. I'm like, who's this fat dude? You know? And I'm like, well, he's a good guy, so I'll cheer for him because I'm a kid and I'll just cheer for the good guys. And I'm like, he'll beat up Ric Flair, right? Ric Flair, this guy to me, like, he just looks like an old man. They all look old to me at the time.
In fact, they did.
All right. So, you know, like Dusty was a good promo, but I really didn't get him as when I was super young. So 12 years old, I'm probably not the most sensitive guy. Like now I'm a little bitch. I cry at everything at 40. But like at 12, like I was a typical, like, love my action films. I'm a, you know, young boy.
Films.
And I'm watching this episode. I think it's like they're on in the morning at the time. It's WCW Saturday Morning Wrestling. And Dusty, they were doing this angle where Dustin Rhodes was feuding with the characters were Colonel Parker, Terry Funk, and a guy named Bunkhouse Buck. And Dustin asked Iron Anderson to be his partner. And Iron Anderson was part of the Four Horsemen feuding with Dusty. And Iron said, I'll be your partner. I got your back. Well, that doesn't work out. Iron turns on Dustin. They all beat him down. So now we go to the Saturday morning show, and there's this thing going on where Parker's guy, I think Bunkhouse, are beating up on a prelim wrestler, and Haku, who is Ming there, is choking out this guy. And all through this chaos, here comes Dusty Rhodes. And he starts dropping elbows on everybody, and they do a big pull apart, and Dustin's out there. And this is the moment where this is a promo with Dusty. Dusty cuts a promo. He's talking to Dustin, and he's like, you can tell, like he's getting real. He's like, you know, when you were born, I went out to go win the world title, and I neglected you. And then when you came here and, you know, you needed someone to talk to, I was playing out in Hollywood, and I neglected you. And now you needed a partner, and I neglected you. And he's selling his whole thing. And he's, you know, Iron Anderson always was the enforcer of the Horsemen, but Flair was the centerpiece. And he's talking about, he says, Iron Anderson, he said, my son offers his innocence to you. You pay him back in scorn. The hell would you? Iron Anderson is nothing but a walk behind her. And when you're a walk behind her, the view never changes. I still hear that in my head to this day. Okay?
You live your life going forward.
Oh, man. And Dusty starts saying things about, like, people are cheering, they're going crazy. He's like, people out there with their brothers, their sisters, their wives, their blood. He said, the Kennedys are blood. The other story. He said, I don't need no handshake. I just need a hug and a kiss to seal the deal. You know, he's like, wants to be a part. So they hug, and it's going crazy. And I'm, like, not really sensitive, but I'm just overwhelmed at what I'm watching now. I'm like, 12. Ever since then, I was super engaged, and Dusty's just been that promo, and he's my number one promo guy.
Hell yeah.
The Hard Times is awesome, but that's another one I think that just goes underrated, and I butchered it a little bit, and I still think it's awesome. So
Dave has said before that he thinks Dusty's promo skills have definitely passed down through the family.
Oh, I know that. I don't know, give me some heat out here, but I think that Cody is a good promo. I think that he talks some shit. And I can see where he gets under people's skin. But I think if you look at his promos with, again, he borrowed a little bit from his father. When you look at the match he had with Dustin at Double or Nothing, where they bled all over each other, you know, when he asked him to be his partner, and it felt real. They're crying, they're hugging. I think Cody borrows. I think Cody's a better promo than Dustin. I think Dustin's a good promo.
Yeah, Cody is. Yeah,
but nobody in that family's got Dusty. Dusty's another level.
Sure.
Josh is like, fuck all that noise.
I'm waiting for Josh to unload right now.
So, like, I've heard about Cody, Charlotte, The Rock.
Hold on. My list got fucked up.
This is RSH episode 94. Josh is in his own personal hell.
Josh's meltdown.
I had Stone. Oh shit.
No, you didn't.
Do you want me to wear my Cody shirt next week?
I thought I had Stone Cold on my list too. I did not.
I'll wear Cody shirt next week.
All right,
here we go.
Dusty Rhodes, my number 5.
There you go.
I didn't watch him as much growing up, but I've watched his stuff in the past, and he's a big reason that the people that can cut a promo in WWE can. He was the promo guy in NXT.
Absolutely.
That's my favorite brand, and he's a huge part in why it's such a big thing to this day. And also, fuck Cody Rhodes. Number 4, Paul Heyman. Kind of the same things Yvonne touched on. He gets people over. He can cut a promo. Like, I know I listen to Busted Open pretty much daily, and Tommy Dreamer would be on there and bully or talk all the time about all the shit Heyman would pull off. Just being able to bullshit his way through any situation. He'd go out there. They said like something would happen where a wrestler was late to go on. So Paul would just grab a mic and walk out on there and cut an unprompted promo. He's like, you know how many main events of huge pay-per-views that came from that? He's like, he just said didn't give a fuck. He just went out there, did his own thing.
Yep.
And we covered pretty much most of that. Somebody that nobody had on here.
I thought I did.
Now, if you never watched WWF and you did not get excited when Stone Cold was out there talking, now granted, kind of like The Rock, he didn't say a lot. He'd say, what? A mud hole in your ass. But when he said shit, it was effective and
it did.
Every crowd was jacked up.
Stone Cold,
no matter what.
Oh,
and he's getting beer. He's getting drunk and drinking beer.
Dude, the beer, you can go on with the beer stuff. Dude, that, especially in the 90s, with the show geared towards at that time, people love to watch that. People love to watch a guy drinking beer beat up his boss. That's why the Attitude Era was so successful.
Insane,
Chuck's like, that's the reason I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Thank you, Stone Cold.
Beers with the buzz this week.
Thank you for your life lesson.
We're going
to be working from home after tomorrow.
We'll have Archie come on like, no, it's bad.
Beer is bad. Well, all right.
Drop you on that dime you call a stack of necks, son.
Number 2,
some Chuck Wisers.
Chris Jericho. Still to this day, like I said, I don't watch AW, but I check out his stuff. I know the last month he's especially been him and MJF. However, this feud ends has to end with them going one-on-one and MJF going over.
Absolutely.
But the promos between these two have been great. Dating back to the 1,000 Holds thing on WCW, his unprompted shit with Goldberg, the fucking list, the Stephanie shit. Like, the way he debuted, he interrupted The Rock and then he schooled The Rock there. He put The Rock in his place first night.
He would just say the most ridiculous things.
He has the best delivery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Period.
Ayatollah.
He said
Rock and
he said
Lola.
the most without saying anything.
What are you talking about?
Because his delivery was so good.
Sure.
It's all about, sometimes it's not. You ever watch somebody say something funny, but it's not really funny, but the stupid look on their face makes you laugh?
Sure.
That's what Jericho did.
That's why you start saying stupid idiot. That same shit. Like, what?
Yeah, like it's the most basic fucking insult, but it worked.
Own it. It works.
Ass clown. Like he had the weirdest shit.
Like what he said about the nude, that was hilarious. I can't.
Parasites in the crowd.
I forgot that one too. Yeah, Parasite.
Yeah, he had some shit.
I think the week I already kind of mentioned it earlier too, though. Like I was the most disappointed in Jericho in 2012 when he returned. Remember when he returned and he was quiet for like a month?
Oh yeah.
Camera like that didn't really. And then he did a feud with CM Punk later. Or I think,
yeah.
They missed an opportunity though. That you imagine when he was doing all that quiet thing and he just cheer. If he they had the Royal Rumble and everybody eliminated each other, and he came out on 30 and just won the Rumble and started going. People would have been so pissed, but he would have been just.
That's a good point. But yeah, just like that was like one of my biggest Jericho disappointments. But yeah, because like he always has good payoff with whatever the fuck he does.
We know who Josh one is. Oh boy.
I mean, the blatant disrespect. It's jealousy. It's fucking
jealous of.
So not only does he carry this company,
say your piece.
Not only does he carry the company on his back for 14 years because all these legendary stars are gone,
doing bigger and better things.
Yeah, like fucking
Randy Orton's a
legend.
Oh
man,
I think the problem was the rest of us just couldn't see him.
See enough of it.
So most recently, I'm old, so I had to research some of his shit. So his promo on Roman Reigns, where he was like, "Yeah, I'm a part timer. It's sad that I'm here because they had to bring me back because you can't do your fucking."
That was hilarious. I like that.
He destroys the big dog. He's like, "Man, Roman just hits him with some weak shit." And he's like, "Dude, I'm only here because you can't do your job."
That was good.
I shouldn't be here. You're right, but he's controlling me. The CM Punk one. There is no you without me. It's dead on.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Well, YouTube's your friend. Use it.
We don't
I remember the Reigns one.
But-
John Cena in charge.
So I'm here is 14 years, like 3 promos. That's what I'm hearing.
I've had 40 seconds to talk. I apologize.
He carries the company.
So like Dave alluded to, the Rock promos. There's not one promo off they had in their whole 2-year rivalry that Cena did.
I disagree with that.
Oh, all right. So the only one that everybody loved was when The Rock was throwing his merch off the fucking bridge. Yeah, this ain't WWF in 2004
That
when
was
you
pretty
threw somebody off the bridge into the river and then they show up at Backlash Sunday and go over. Just
What are you talking about?
stop.
You mean when John Cena threw Edge into just like the little river right there?
Dude, back when WWF used to throw everybody into the river. Stone Cold
It was
went
Rock and
into the
Austin.
river. Yeah, then they'd come back at SummerSlam and let's stop it.
Cena legit pissed off The Rock. I mean, Cena did really well in that. And I think, here's my thing. I don't know if I touched on it enough. I think Cena is an awesome promo. Where I don't put him on the top 5 is the body of work, but the body of work I don't think is his fault. I think he's a company man, and he played a character that they wanted for the most part. But when you see moments where he just goes off the cuff and he starts doing things, like when he said the Roman, like I've seen in other areas too, like I think he's good. I don't know where I would put him because this is a stacked list where there's so many people we're leaving off anyway. But I just think, there's those moments where the potential is definitely there. He's definitely a good promo.
There was one moment in like maybe 2007, 2008, right when he was getting booed all of the time. Not his fault. He was, a boring company man. And so he did the same stuff and he got booed and he's supposed to be getting cheered. And there's one promo when he was like, he came out, he addressed the getting booed and he was like, you know what, if you don't like me, y'all can go to hell. And then like that was like, fuck yeah, get edgy. And then it didn't continue. Like, so he has the ability, but his overall full-time career, it was very Hulk Hogan.
He's doing what WWE wants him to do.
Anyway,
what John Cena wants to do.
Skip through the bullshit here. Dr. Ergonomics.
That was good shit.
When he would come out and talk about funny, so do yourself a favor. Go on YouTube and Google
That was
Dr.
shit. That's good.
Ergonomics.
That's
It's
good.
like a 15-minute video.
Sure.
Kurt Angle. Fucking the Brock Lesnar.
Taker even.
Fucking the Brock Lesnar one where he's like, all big, little brain or whatever. Like, he said the dumbest shit.
He was on the Peep Show with Christian.
Like, that's when he debuted on Raw.
Like 02 to 04.
Like, when he debuted on Raw on the Peep Show or whatever and just roasted Christian and Tomko. Was it Tomko?
Yeah, Tomko.
Tyson Tomko.
Yeah.
And he just destroys them. There's other ones when he initially called out The Rock.
Carlito.
Yeah. See? Buried. He put over Carlito took the US belt off of him
what John
the
Cena
first
does.
time.
We get it.
When his promo at AJ Styles and AJ first got there and Cena went over the first time and he's like, yeah, I did bury you. You weren't good enough to be here 10 years ago. You ain't good enough to be here now, which AJ inevitably did win. I think more of the feud than Cena did.
There's a reason.
He is getting older.
There's a reason.
His shit recently, even though it's against my favorite, is Bray Wyatt shit last year at Mania. The whole overprivileged, overhyped shit. You hit him with some real shit. He's like, you're fat. You're out of shape. You lost your spot. You didn't deserve it. You don't deserve it now. And I'm back to take your spot from you, bury you, put you to rest, and go back to Hollywood. And when the Firefly Funhouse happened, I'm still not sure what that meant.
Nobody does.
But it happened. And promo, there would be nights that he would go out there and just get the fucking crowd jacked. Like when he came back from injuries, like when he broke his I don't know if he broke his neck, but he did, and he came back at that Rumble 6 months early. Yeah. Like nobody thought he'd be number 30. He came out. I think Triple H. I had no idea he was there.
Oh, that's 08.
Yeah,
so
he could come out and sell all his matches, like every fucking pay-per-view he's main event. He could sell. He put people over on the mic. When it might not be the fact he buried quite a few, but to be fair, that's Vince saying beat their ass and not him. But when the shit he says, he gets people over. When John Cena, like you said with The Miz, he says Miz is a hard worker. It's not even a question now. Cena said that's bold.
No, he has prestige, but doesn't mean his promos are awesome.
They are great. They are number one. And I talked last, so I was right. So much disrespect in this little cubicle right here.
Carry the
This performer ever in the history of professional wrestling. Not my opinion. That is my opinion. But you know who I heard it say it first? Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin, so suck it.
Doesn't mean it's right.
That is correct.
He's another alcoholic.
He's not.
So-
He ain't thinking right either.
You go.
We respect that.
All I know is that when Shawn Michaels faced John Cena at WrestleMania 2007, which was 23, he was mad about it so much he didn't shake John Cena's hand because of how terrible that match was. That was actually giving a douche, Michael. But still.
Cena, but
still.
you know who's right up there with Cena's Randy Orton.
No, we're not.
No.
Randy Orton cannot cut a promo. I don't even know if he knows how to spell it.
I'm not even talking about promo. He puts people over. He's right
You
there.
couldn't go a whole 20 minutes on talking about Randy Orton. No, he cannot stand with anything.
No, it's a Randy Orton.
No, he puts people over. No, he's not going to microphone, but Randy Orton's been there a long time.
Stop it. You're ruining the moment. And
you forget Orton, he's old. He's been there like Cena.
And he also invented the slogan that I use every single week on this show, and that is "The champ is fucking here." So thank you.
Who did all you copy?
Not the other word that said last week. Anyway,
I am done. You guys can proceed now.
It's a re-
I mean, the fact of the matter is John Cena is just like Hulk Hogan.
Nope.
Boring as fuck.
Stop it.
And
I'm going to Twitter, and I'm putting out a vote on whose list was better, and all 4 options are me. So.
Don't become a hot because Cena follows you on Twitter.
Cena does follow me on Twitter and RSH on Twitter. So
We got him too. He's a good guy like that.
You guys, I got President Obama following my personal account, so
I socialize with a lot of wrestlers on my personal
and
account.
I bet he wouldn't. I bet he
did.
wouldn't follow if he heard some of our pre-talk. I don't know how you pulled that off, Chuck, but all right.
That's gonna be funny when you guys check your Twitter following and Cena's gone.
The funny part is I didn't know Obama followed me until Josh told me.
I was like, it was like people you should follow based off of people your friends follow.
That is funny.
And it was Obama, and I was like, who the fuck? Obama?
Chuck?
Which one of my friends does Obama follow? It's him, of all people. Oh, so Hunter's trying to go live, and we're on the.
We just screwed on her. He'll be all right.
It's the NFL draft.
He'll be fine.
Anyway,
But we won't talk about the grade I get on Twitter with Jericho.
No, you have all the famous people following you, man.
I tried. Dana Brooke. Actually, like I'm sitting there.
Are you naming the worst promo people now?
No,
People who follow her.
people I interact. I actually have conversations with. It's kind of weird. Jericho.
Some porn star.
Joe, we got to get more active on Twitter and talk to these people.
I got comedian Ben Bailey following me,
Mhm.
and he's
We got followers. We just don't interact with them. Like we have like
That's how
2,000.
great they are.
We got like 2,000 followers today. Like we just went up to them. But, like we don't talk to them. We just got them to follow us.
That's fair. I don't either. All right, guys. Hey, man, this has been a great show. Phenomenal. This has been a great. I love it when the working fans join us.
Absolutely.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it is.
And be sure, guys, if you don't, which I'm sure you all do, go watch Working Fans every Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's just good shit, as Vince McMahon would say. So, guys,
Absolutely.
any last words to say before we end the show tonight?
Joey, hit him with that promotional shit.
Oh man, you can find us on Twitter at Fans Working. You know what? We're not going to give you the whole rundown. If you're into the Working Fans podcast, search us out.
You know where we
Subscribe to us
are.
on YouTube.
And unlike John Cena, you can see us.
Oh,
Getting out on a good one. That was good.
This was fun. Thank you, guys.
Also, guys, hey, thanks to you guys so much for joining the show, and I can't wait to keep bullshitting and watching next week on Wednesday nights.
Absolutely.
We'll be back.
We'll find these guys every week at The Buzz, with thebuzz.com, all of the same social medias. And is that all we got?
Yeah, that's all we got.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot so much for watching us here right now. If you want to keep listening, the same show, but in audio only, be sure to check out the audio platforms as well. And I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up because we are like way over. So at the end of the day, all is said and done. Promos, no promos, can't see, keep continuing to fear regularly scheduled